Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's movie blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you are all doing very well, and tonight we're going to be talking about a couple of different things. Obviously just doing our normal live stream Welcome to Asgard, but a couple of topics that I want to talk about. First, going to wait for a few people to get on and jump into the conversation before I do, but we are going to be talking about the Producers Guild of America nominations coming out. If no one knows this, they are a huge precursor to the Oscars, and I think that this tells us everything that we need to know about the current state of the Oscars, and also that they have indeed totally doubled down on identity politics and just stupid political matters to the point of me pretty much confident that I will never watch an Oscars again until all this nonsense goes away, which unfortunately we know that it will not. Anyway, Suicide Grunts of America, welcome. Hello, Governor. Tyrone Dudester, what's going on, bruv? Tina thought I was talking about the Professional Golf Association when I messaged the Valkyrie and said the PGA. It's a Trap says, my lord, a very fond hello to you as well, sir. It's a Trap Productions, of course. Frank, thank you again for jumping in the Moist Cast. It was quite moist, and it was great to be a part of the chat for even that little bit. Mortarian of the Death Guard, welcome. Happy New Year. Greta Zenner, hello, what's going on? Greta just had a new video drop. Go check it out. It is a really, really good video, and I recommend that you check it out for yourselves. Donald Hudson is here. Asgardians assemble. Sorry, guys, it's a random one. Don't worry. The schedule is still there. So for my Valkyrie that are kind of like, oh my god, we just had a schedule. The schedule is still there, but every now and then I will just jump on randomly when there's something that I really want to talk about, when I'm in a mood, when I'm just in that point where I need to get something off my chest. I just need to let out some steam, and that's one of those nights. It's one of those nights where I need to talk. I need to talk to my people. I need to get things out there. I need to talk about some things. I need to speak to some common sense people. Yes, Lando, the Film Actors Guild. You are so right about that. The Film Actors Guild, indeed. Frank loves Odin, and I love Frank. Frank is fantastic. Frank is thebomb.com. Soul Assassin, what is going on, dude? How is it going, bruv? How is it going? Hope everyone is doing well. Also, for anyone that is a patron, new podcast episode is dropping in the Patreon. It will be posted in the Patreon tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. It will be live. And this week, I interview the wonderful, the beautiful, the amazing Valkyrie, Tina, and Steph. So please check it out for that. Again, you have to be a $5 or up pledger on Patreon in order to get access to that podcast. So therefore, think about joining that podcast army and think about joining that Patreon army. It really does mean a lot to me, and it does help me out a lot. Viper Chief, dealing with a nasty sore throat. Hopefully I get over my cold. I hope so as well. I hope so as well. So who are we making fun of tonight? Psh, who knows what we're making fun of? We're making fun of the PGAs, first off, the Producers Guild, because they have gone so woke. Like almost every single movie that got nominated, except for like maybe a couple, there can be something very, very, very clearly said about it. Dova Kid, I can't wait to see Lucasfilm let Johnson go, and it would be wishful thinking that they would discredit him in the process. I don't think they're going to do that. I think that they honestly like Rian Johnson as a person. I mean, that's something that we've heard for a long time, that the relationship between him and Kathleen Kennedy was very good, because he would just do whatever Kathleen Kennedy wanted, and obviously anyone in a position of power is going to like someone who is a, yes ma'am, no ma'am type of person. So I don't think they're going to leave on bad terms. However, I do honestly think that his position is definitely in trouble if we are to believe the news out of today. Now, I know a bunch of people have been posting other things saying, yeah, but Bob Iger says this and this. That is all true, but no one from Disney and no one from Lucasfilm has come out to say that this new trilogy, this new Star Wars series, whatever it is going to be, whether it's feature length or not, from Rian Johnson, is not going to be exclusive to the Disney Plus network. No one has come out and said that, and until that happens, I'm not going to buy into it. Tina says, not sure what Odin is discussing, but I'm fired up over what SC Reviews just reported. Well, what did SC Reviews just report? Darth Moral, what's going on, bruv? Hyperin, what's up, bruv? How's it going? How's it going? Suicide Grunts, who would win between Odin and Darkseid? Psh, I mean, come on, man. You know the answer to that question. You know the answer to that question without any doubt in my mind. So, since we got some people on here, soon to be some Star Wars folks, let's start talking about that news item today. So I made a video today where I talked about an article from 17. And I talked about how, yes, this article is definitely not the most reliable sources, but what it claims, and again, it's not even like it's breaking the news. It's not even like it's the headline. It's literally deep within the article where it says, talking about different things that are going to be on the Disney streaming network, and it says very specifically that Rian Johnson will have a series, a trilogy, that's featured on the Disney Plus network. Now, what that tells me is, oh, that means the 3 movies or the 3 things he's working on are going straight to the network. Now, other people have tried to come out and say, yeah, but Bob Iger just came out recently and said that there are no feature-length films that are going to be originally released on the network. They're not going to do that. Any film that they make, they're going to put a crap ton of money into, and therefore they're going to give it a theatrical release. But the 17 article never specifies that it's a theatrical release or that it's a major film release. All that it mentions is that whatever Rian Johnson's working on is exclusive to the network, which makes me think this. Who is to say that Rian Johnson is not going to be given a small trilogy of short films? Because think about it. He doesn't have to make an entire series like we know a bunch of other people are doing. He could make a 3-film series. I mean, like as far as a TV series, he could make a 3-film series of short films that range between 40 and 50 minutes. So they fit into that short film range. They cost significantly less. And once again, they don't have to worry about taking the loss that they know that they would get if they were to release his films into the general audiences. And that's the reason why I have a lot of confidence in that account. One, because it's not trying to be clickbait. It didn't say, it wasn't like the article said, Rian Johnson steps down or Rian Johnson is put in his place. It never said that. All it said was that whatever Rian Johnson's working on is on the network. That is the part that I'm running with. Now, what it is, how it plays out, whether or not it's true, at this point, we honestly don't know with 100% surety. But what we do know is that there's obviously something going on here, because why would a magazine that's owned by Disney release this little nugget of information just in the bottom of an article unless it was something that was being talked about already? That is my logic behind it. And even in the very beginning, I said they could come out tomorrow and say this isn't true, and at least it would come from a higher up, and then we'd say, okay, well, this person has now said that this is not true. But they haven't done that yet, and that's the reason why I'm standing by my statement. Darth Marl says, we need a petition to stop the Rian Johnson trilogy. Unfortunately, a petition would not stop it. They don't care about what the fans think. You can just look at what they're doing right now. They obviously don't care what the fans think. They're starting to get the idea that, wait a minute, in order to have a successful franchise, guess what we need? We need fans. We need people buying tickets. We need people buying the merchandise. We need people actually spending money. And if we don't have that, guess what? We get nothing. We get absolutely nothing. And so they're starting to realize that, but they haven't fully bought onto it quite yet. So I don't know how much that would actually help. The best way that we can do it is not by signing a petition, but by refusing, 1, to go see episode 9, and 2, refusing to sign up for the Disney streaming service. That is how we make our voices heard, because if they don't get enough money for the streaming service, they can't produce the content that they want to produce, and then they start to realize, oh, what's holding us back? Wait a minute, this very small vocal minority of people might not be as small as we once thought. Hypern says, Lord of the Johnson Fellowship of Ruin, Lord of the Johnson, the 2 garbage movies, Lord of the Johnson, Return of the Last Jedi. That sounds about right to me. Sounds about right to me. Let's see. All right, Alex Martinez, what's going on, bruh? What is going on, bruh? How is it going? How is it going? Jagan, the critic who is a cynic, how are you today? I am okay. I also want to talk about a couple of the movies that I saw today, because one of them is actually listed on the Producers Guild Award list, and there's a lot of things that I can say about it. But another one is also very important, too, because Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet, has a lot of problems. One message in particular makes me, the more I think about it, hate the film. I came out of it saying, okay, it was a fine kids movie, it was unnecessary, blah, 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 C+. But the more I thought about the message that it tried to convey by the very end, I thought to myself, this is a terrible movie. I do not want any kids watching this because it gives them a really bad message. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit as well. Yeah, damn right, Tina. I am still humming the Christmas carols. We are still within that Christmas season. Again, until this Sunday, until the Feast of the Epiphany, we are still within the the Christmas season. So I will still be doing it. Greta says, you hear the Academy are asking Kevin Hart back. I guess they couldn't find anyone else. Yes, and also, too, it's because everyone who, Ellen DeGeneres, despite what you might think about her, she's a huge voice. She has a lot of influence, especially on social media. So obviously she has a lot of public influence. So basically what happened with that situation was that Kevin Hart, was on her program and they talked about it. And basically she defended him, saying, hey, you know what? I think that you are sorry for anything that you said. And I don't think that you're a bad guy. And I think that you're a perfect person, the host. And from what I heard, she talked to the people. She talked to some of the producers and talked to some of the higher ups at the Oscars and petitioned for him and they said, oh yeah, we'd be welcome to have him back. But he's not buying into it. He doesn't want it. And why would he? Why would he take the job at this point? When all these people, when all these Hollywood elites were throwing him under the bus for something so stupid, why would you, if that had happened to me or anyone else, if that happened to you, why would you go back to that? Why would you risk that again when you have people that obviously don't give a damn about what you think? Especially since you know that they're just going to censor him out of the wazoo for any of his comedy. Alex Martinez says, it's going well. How are you? I'm doing fine. Hyperin, I'm sorry. Just wanted to ask you a question for understanding. I liked Mahler's video analysis about opinions. So does that mean it's okay to have an opinion if you at the least have the facts to back it up? I mean, you can, I don't know what that's starting to ask. You can have an opinion about anything. Opinions are fine. See, here's the thing. Subjective and objective. So there is an objective point of view. There are facts behind certain things, or there is reality. There is black and white in this world. There are certain things that are true. However, you can also have a subjective point of view. So therefore, you can subjectively have an opinion that you say, hey, you know what? I like The Last Jedi. I had a lot of fun with it. Subjective view. But there is still the objective reality that there are narrative flaws, that there are, character flaws. Those are things that cannot be explained away. You can have whatever opinion you want, but the facts don't back you up. So again, you can subjectively like the movie, but objectively you cannot ignore the problems that exist. Tina says, my tree comes down on Epiphany. Damn right, because that is indeed the end of Christmas. Jagan, 75 says, now Ellen is getting backlash from supporting Kevin Hart. Yep, I saw the John Talks video about that just a few minutes ago. Also, this guy named Matt Martin is saying the fans need to respect him and Lucasfilm. Yeah, Matt Martin is a total shill. I've been following a couple. So Matt Martin, I think, isn't that the guy that put an article out there, got backlash, and then responded to the backlash? I mean, that guy's a total shill, just trying to get clickbait just because of the controversy, and he's an idiot that just needs to go away. Darth Hammer, what's going on, bruv? What is going on? What's going on? Hybrid says, sorry, I had to ask that. Just wanted to understand more clearly about his great video analysis. All right, sounds good. Sounds good to me. Jagan says, I am seriously done with Hollywood's foolishness at this point. Me too. I am very tempted to give up on Hollywood altogether, which sucks because I love movies. So my love of movies is the only thing keeping me from just boycotting Hollywood altogether because, I mean, I don't, and the reason why also is because if I boycott it, nothing's going to change. In fact, things are going to get worse. So I think I'd rather try and make my voice heard by what movies I go see and what I say about those movies and trying to gain as much of an influence as I can, not for myself, but for a voice of a people that are just sick and tired of it. You know, and even if I can be a small voice to add and to speak of the frustrations that we have with the current Hollywood era, then I'm going to do the damnedest that I possibly can. Dova Kid says, I think the success of the Shards of the Past made Disney take a second look at Lucasfilm. I think that is not too far off to say. MCOC, what's up, Odin? Can't stay, but we're about to watch Once Upon a Deadpool. Hope it's good. I hear that it's a worthless experience because you're basically getting watered down Deadpool, and they don't really have a whole lot of extra scenes added in. I hear the extra scenes are funny, but overall, it's something that you don't have to go see. But please let me know when you get back. Let me know what your thoughts are. Hyper says, okay, Odin, thank you for explanation. Greatly appreciating it, brother. No problem at all. 70 says, Lucy, you have some splaining to do. Exactly. Suicide Grunt says, there are movie producers with no association with Hollywood. Yeah, that's very true. Hyper says, so I guess, for example, I can subjectively love the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but objectively it can have issues such as pacing, such as, for example, no, you're exact. Hyper, boom. That's it right there. That is the perfect explanation. Subjectivity is just your own personal view. I like the best example that I like to give is The Room. which is the best worst movie of all time. Now keep this in mind. Objectively speaking, it is a terribly made movie. However, subjectively, my personal view is that it's a masterpiece because it's so bad. I love it because it's bad. So objectively, it's bad. Subjectively, I love it. Reed Palancia, thank you so very much for your $50 super chat. Maybe like Rome, Hollywood will fall under its own weight. Keeping up with your videos. Well, Reed, thank you so much. Really do appreciate the donation. And I think you are absolutely right about that. I think that there very well will be a time when Hollywood will fall under its weight. And you already kind of see it happening by the fact that they're starting to eat their own. Now Ellen DeGeneres is being attacked. Like, if even Ellen, who is just having a conversation with a guy and understanding that we are supposed to be adults who can have good, logical conversations, and saying, hey, I mean, you're a good guy, and I don't think that you hate me. I mean, she's speaking as a lesbian, and she obviously understands that he doesn't hate her or hate lesbians or hate gay people. Like, that's not actually what he said. And I think because of that, people in Hollywood were like, "Oh no, we can't have that because we're totally PC and we can't have any of this, it's just ridiculous." But no, you're absolutely right. At some point, Reed, they are totally going to fall under themselves. You already seeing happen by the fact that they are eating themselves alive. Nemesis, thanks for Nemesis08 says, Odin, thanks for being my favorite YouTuber. Well, thank you, Varen. I really do appreciate you. Thank you for sending that article to me earlier. That article has caused so much conversation. So even if people agree or disagree with me, at the very least, it has caused a conversation. And I think that conversation is something that is very important. Ariak Draken says, logic was tossed out the window a long time ago. No, I agree. I think that Hollywood has definitely fallen very, very far from what it used to be. It used to be more about trying to make objectively good films. And now they've fallen away from that for this total nonsense. Viper Chief says, will a Corona help my cold go away, man? No, it will not. Alcohol will not help you, man. I'm just saying that. As someone who doesn't even drink, I know for a fact that that's not going to help. Drunk 3PO. What's up, Odin? What's up, Drunk 3PO? How's it going? Brad Noble, did Odin get dial-up? What do you mean, did I get dial-up? Is my connection not coming through good? I think you're the only one because I haven't heard anyone else say anything. Hyper says, Ruin Johnson trilogy will be supported by SJWs, yet they attack Ellen for being a good human being. I know, seriously. Seriously, they'll go out of their way to support Rian Johnson, but then they'll attack Ellen DeGeneres for being a decent person. I'm not even a fan of her type of comedy, but I at least have respect for her by the very fact that she stood up to somebody who shouldn't have been treated the way that he was treated in the first place. That entire situation was just so overblown by these NPCs. Again, because all they can do is say racism, sexism, homophobia. Damaj and I, hello, brother. I really like the Rian Johnson No Confidence video. Well, thank you very much, Damaj, and I appreciate it. And it's getting some interesting feedback to it, I would say. It's getting a lot of positive love on YouTube, which makes me happy because I always appreciate when people are able to not only appreciate content that I make, but also to be able to engage with it as well. I'm loving to see the comments. The comments have been really excellent for it. Tina says, my Chromebook has the spinning circle around Odin's head, but the TV is just fine. Sounds about right. So guys, just getting into this, obviously we can talk about the Rian Johnson stuff until we're blue in the face, but another thing I wanted to talk about, so I'm gonna stay away from the comments just for a little bit. Swig of flavored water for the working man. Is the Producers Guild of America. So if anyone doesn't know anything about the Oscars, I used to be a huge fan of the Oscars. I would follow them every single year. I would get up every single morning, and usually it was around 6 or 7 in the morning Central Standard Time when they would announce the nominees. I would get up every single year in order to watch those nominations be given out live. And so I've been following it for a very long time. And one of the things that you know when you follow these award shows is that the Guild Awards, meaning the Screen Actors Guild, all the actors, the Producers Guild, all the producers that make the film, the Directors Guild, the DGA, all of these guilds that have all these different specialties, they have a lot of power and say in what films end up going on not only to be nominated, but also to win Best Picture, Best Director, things like that, because these various branches obviously represent a very specific set of people, directors, actors, etc., but also a certain percentage of the same people that vote within the Academy as well. And so earlier today, the Producers Guild Awards came out with their nominees for their films. And the reason why the Producers Guild is so important is because they have about an 80% plus track record of accurately predicting what wins at the Oscars. So most of the time, 8 out of 9 times, or 9 out of 10, or 8 out of 10, a very high percentage of the time, whatever wins the PGA award for film will go on to win Best Picture. And it's been the best indicator of what, and the question is always asked, well, how is it the case? The reason why is because they have the very similar type of voting system, and also the people that make up the PGA are very similar and have a similar makeup to the typical Oscar voter. Now, it's not perfect, but oftentimes that is the case. And so the PGA Awards, they came out today with their nominations, and I wanted to talk about this list because it's very interesting, because most of the films on this list, in fact, I would say that there is not one film on this list that will not get nominated for Best Picture. The question is how many of these films will get nominated, because another thing the PGA does very well is be able to predict which films will also get nominated as well. It shows us a little bit about what movies are getting a lot of buzz early on. And so the movies, and we'll talk about each one after I go through the entire list, the movies that got nominated for the PGA Award, so these are for the films for the PGA, and again, this is the best indicator of not only nominations, but also to what's eventually possibly going to win at the Oscars as well. If you don't have a PGA nomination, it is essentially impossible for you to win an Oscar for Best Picture. So let me just put it out there. These are the nominations in alphabetical order: Black Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, Crazy Rich Asians, The Favorite, Green Book, A Quiet Place, Roma, A Star is Born, and Vice. Now, there are a couple of things on here that I'm excited to see. So let me just start off there. What are some things that I like seeing? I like seeing A Quiet Place on here. A Quiet Place was one of my favorite films of the year. I absolutely loved A Quiet Place. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was one of the most innovative horror films in a long time. John Krasinski's directorial debut, the fact that this is the first time this dude is bringing it on the big screen, it was incredible. It was amazing. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. So I'm excited to see that on there. I'm excited to see A Star is Born on there as well. I actually really liked A Star is Born. I had a lot of fun with A Star is Born. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and it was so much fun. As Lethal Lightning gives me a $5 super chat, thank you, man. Odin, your rant game is strong. Much love. Well, thank you very much, man. I really, really do appreciate it. The other one I'm very excited to see on here is Green Book. Green Book was my third favorite now film of the year. It's a film that could have easily gone the route of identity politics, but instead does not go PC and tells a very beautiful story between two people from total opposite ends who somehow become not only friends, but also change each other's lives for the better. The last one on here I'm happy to see is Bohemian Rhapsody, because Bohemian Rhapsody to me was so much fun. It was a rock concert. It was a really great introspective into the life of Freddie Mercury and also the entire band of Queen, and it was fantastic. The reason why I want to talk about this list tonight, though, is because of what this means for the actual Academy itself. This is probably the most woke list, the most identity politics driven list that I have ever seen. And even though there are a couple films on here that I could say, hey, these are well-made movies and it makes a little bit sense as to why they're getting recognized, almost every single one of these films has something to it, has something that's going to that really screams out at me as identity politics. Black Panther. Let's start with the top of the list. Black Panther. This is a movie that the only reason why it's getting as much love as it is, and I mean, come on, let's just be honest for a second. Let's just get all of the PC crap out of the way. The reason why this film, a Marvel film, a superhero film, is getting recognition from the PGA, which means it's all but guaranteed, because it also got a Screen Actors nomination as well for Ensemble. It's got 2 Guild Award nominations, and you know that the director is going to get a DGA award as well, which means this film is going to be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. And the only reason why, the primary reason why that's the case, is because it has an all-black cast. It's because of diversity. And some people might not want to hear that. Some people might not like that, but that is the truth. The truth of the matter is that Black Panther is getting as much love as it's getting because of diversity, for the sake of diversity's sake. Because if you're trying to tell me that Black Panther should be the first superhero film to get nominated for Best Picture, if you're trying to tell me that Black Panther is more worthy as a film, objectively speaking, than The Dark Knight, or even this year, Infinity War, You were out of your mind. You were absolutely out of your mind. So starting off there with Black Panther, identity politics has driven that film to receive this nomination. Nemesis 08, thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate that. $100 super chat, dude. You're crazy, man. Thank you. Your loyalty and love for your viewers is even strong. Well, thank you, Nemesis. I really do appreciate that, man. And I will do the very best that I can to always be there for you guys, to whatever it is that you might need, whatever I can possibly give, from what little I can possibly give. You guys mean the world to me. So thank you so much for jumping on this stream and talking about this stuff with me. Moving on. Black Klansman coming up next. Black Klansman, a Spike Lee movie that is actually very well written. It's very smart, it's well shot, it's well acted, and yet at the very end what you realize is that all of that was to justify the real life footage from the past few years, attacking not only Donald Trump, but also justifying the Black Lives Matter movement. Now, I'm not going to deny that at the core of the Black Lives Matter movement, there are some good people who are trying to bring about positive change. But I'm sorry, at this point, that movement has been tainted by all of the violence and radicalism that has been a part of it. And yet Spike Lee took this movie as an opportunity, built up and wrote a brilliant story that didn't really delve into any of that stuff. I mean, it just told a historical story of a certain period of time, and it was funny. It was smart. But then you realize that he does that so that you, if you're a person especially of a left sensibility, of an NPC, SJW sensibility, will at the very end say, oh my God, you're so right. That's still, all of this stuff is still going on today. And oh my God, this is just, everything is Donald Trump's fault and Black Lives Matter. Oh my God, yes. And so you realize that this film is essentially propaganda for the Black Lives Matter movement. And yes, of course, this one gets a nomination for the producers, for the PGA, and you know it's going to get an Oscar nomination as well because, again, it fits the narrative. It fits the identity politics narrative. Bohemian Rhapsody. This is a film that I like. This is a film that I'm happy is on there. But at the end of the day, it is also a film that features a character, is focused on a character who is gay. Now, I think it does this very tastefully because it doesn't just focus on that. In fact, I think it handles it best because it shows you, hey, you are not defined by your sexuality. You are not defined by your sexual orientation. There is so much more to a person than just that, which is why I like it. And I like it being on this list. However, it still needs to be said. It still needs to be said because I guarantee you if this was a movie about a guy who was not gay, probably would not have been on the list. Next film on this list, Crazy Rich Asians. This is probably one of the worst movies I've seen this year. I gave this movie a D because not only is it just not funny, not only are all of the actors green and painful to watch on screen, but also, too, you start to realize very soon into the movie, oh, this movie is getting love and attention because of the narrative surrounding it. Because oh my God, the diversity on screen. This is the first time that a movie has starred all Asian actors and all Asian directors, writers, etc. And the narrative is what made this popular, not the movie itself. And we see that happen a lot in Hollywood. I think that Crazy Rich Asians, more so than anything else on here, is the perfect representation of modern day Hollywood. The narrative around a movie, the narrative around, the media narrative around a given film, that is what defines a film, not the film itself. So even though Crazy Rich Asians is not a good movie, even though it's not funny, even though it has terrible writing and terrible acting, even though all of these things exist, it got a lot of love. And why is it the fact that it got a lot of love? Because what was the narrative? The narrative wasn't about, oh, this is just the same old tired rom-com just without the comedy. No, it was, oh my God, but we have to support it because of diversity. We have to support it because of diversity. The Favorite. The Favorite, I just saw it today. This movie, brilliantly shot, beautiful cinematography, solid acting. Story sucks because it's constantly jumping between being a period drama and some kind of campy comedy. But the problem is that they also take a lot of historical liberty because it all deals with Queen Anne. And apparently, if you read some history books, there's some speculation that Queen Anne had sexual relations with a few women in her general vicinity. And so obviously they decide to jump on this and run with it and let that be the center theme of the film. And so therefore it gets nominated, not because it's a good story, not because it's a good movie, but because of identity politics. Green Book. I actually like Green Book. I think Green Book is fantastic. I think that it's one of the best films of the year, my third favorite film of the year. At the end of the day, though, it's a story about a black man being driven through the South during the time of integration. So even though I like the film, even though I think the film is not identity politics oriented, I still will hold the Academy and all the voters to a very different standard, because they obviously look at this film and they don't see good cinematography, good writing, etc. They see just the visuals. They judge it based off of the identities and the diversity that's represented on screen. So again, the movie doesn't do that. The narrative around it does. In fact, this is a movie that a lot of people thought wouldn't get nominated because one of the stars, Viggo Mortensen, used the N-word in a conversation during a interview. Not using it in a derogatory way, but rather trying to say how this word has such a historical impact, and yet he got crucified for it and had to apologize for it, even though this is a man that was just trying to have an intellectual conversation about a time in history that he was being represented in. So again, the narrative around the film is important. A Quiet Place, no narrative. It's a great film. It's a great film. It's great to see it on here. Roma. Roma is a film that's obviously on here. Roma is obviously a film that is important to the Academy for the big reason that you have Alfonso Cuarón, who is an incredible director, but it's a film set in Mexico. And therefore, especially with modern day politics of today, especially with the Donald Trump situation, everything else going on with the wall, of course, it's going to get a lot more recognition. Even though it's a total bore, even though it just, to me, has no life to it whatsoever, and the cinematography might be good, but it was bored all the way through. Even with all that being the case, this is on here because, again, identity politics. A Star is Born, great film, really like it, but at one point features very strongly trans people. Again, narrative around a film. And lastly, Vice, which is probably the most blatant of all of this because it's about Dick Cheney. And so therefore it's a mocking of an attack of Dick Cheney and George W. Bush. So of course this film, even though this film has actually not gotten the best reviews from critics and audiences alike, still somehow got on here. The point I'm trying to make with all this and why I went through every single film is because, as you can see, almost every film on here has something that deals with identity politics, whether within the movie directly or within the narrative around the film. And this, to me, is going to easily translate over most of these films, if not all, because there's 10 nominations here. You could have between 5 and 10 at the Oscars. That means you're going to have a hodgepodge of these movies on there. And that means that identity politics is going to rule the day at the 2019 Oscars. So, anyway, sorry, I know I missed some comments. I'm not going to be able to read them all. So if I miss your comment during that entire speech that I just gave, please post it again. I'm going to start here with Greta. Odin, I like the story with The Favorite, but the ending is really weird. The ending is really weird, but also, too, the story doesn't know what it is. So that's why I don't think it is a good story. Because the story itself is constantly battling between what kind of movie it wants to be. And if the movie cannot decide what it wants to be, then that's not a well-written story. I'm sorry, like that's like writing 101. If your script is fighting itself for what kind of genre it is, and it's not doing so in a clean and clever way, that's a problem. Tina says, "Oh God, no! Are you kidding me?" So once again, they messed up history. Hold my beer. I know, seriously. So Tina, I'm assuming that you're thinking about The Favorite. So I mean, yeah, I mean, that's just, again, I'm not an expert on Queen Anne. I just know that it is not historically 100% historically true that she had these lesbian affairs. It's speculative. There are people who wrote about it, but there was no actual proof. So basically Hollywood decided, oh, let's make a really pretty movie and focus on this one thing that might be true. I wonder why they chose that one thing. Greta says, Roma is amazing. And I understand why many people would say Roma is amazing, because it is beautiful. The movie itself looks absolutely gorgeous. The cinematography is great. The color palette is great. But nothing happens. The story just drifts. And there is no point. By the end of the movie, I was asking myself, what was the point of that? I don't care about any of the characters. I don't really know any of the characters. So is the entire film just for you to appreciate beautiful visuals? Because if that's the case, okay, great, it does that. But guess what? Films are much more than that. A film can't just be visuals. A film needs to be a little bit more than that. Peabody, what's going on, bruv? Hyper says, with Godzilla King of Monsters, do you think it will suffer from character development? I understand it's all monsters fighting. With this one, not so much, because I honestly think that because of the reaction the audiences gave to King of the Monsters, or rather gave to the first Godzilla film in 2014, I think that they're going to focus just on monsters. So I don't think character development is going to be as big. Super says, might be a dumb question, but I'm still sort of a noob. When or what are the Producers Guild Awards? So they were just announced. The nominations were announced this morning. And a winner will be announced sometime in February. It's before the Oscars. So basically what it is there are these things called guilds. And they are made up of various people that fit within that particular guild. So the SAG. You know, Greta is a member of SAG, the Screen Actors Guild. So therefore it is actors who are part of this organization. They vote to nominate and also to award certain actors for the SAG at an annual award show called the SAG Awards. The PGA that we're talking about right now is the Producers Guild of America. And so therefore, producers across America nominate and vote for a winner for producers of a film. In fact, little known fact, when people win Oscars, when movies win Oscars, it's the producers that win the Oscar, not the actual movie itself. So hopefully that makes a little bit more sense. Super says, Odin, haven't seen Vice yet, but regardless of the politics, once again, have to hand to Christian Bale. His commitment skills are next level. And I'm not saying, through all of these movies, I'm not saying that they're completely bad. I am not saying that these are 0% on Rotten Tomatoes bad. What I'm trying to merely point out is the politics behind these choices. I know the people who are choosing these movies. I know the mindset. And the reason why they're choosing the films is not because these are the creme of the crop. It's not because these are the best films out there. It's because of this overall narrative. It's because of this overall identity politics narrative that they have become a part of. So that's the reason why. Nemesis says, dude, I just can't wait to see Dumbo. The trailer made me get all verklempt and crap. I'm glad that you are. I'm not too excited for it because the CGI is still a little bit on the edge for me. But overall, I think that it has some potential to be good. I'm also biased against it because I'm just tired of the Disney live action. They need to stop. Tina says, a favorite. I don't know a lot about Stuart English history, but I know a bit about Anne. And I think the actress that plays Queen Anne is phenomenal. She is one of the best parts of the movie, without any doubt. Again, there are good things I could say about each and every single one of these movies. In fact, I think I tried to, with one exception being Crazy Rich Asians, because it was just bad. It was a bad movie. But I will always try and find the best before giving you my honest opinion, you know, in the end line about it. Nemesis says, name one nominee that is bat crap. Crazy Rich Asians is total and utter bat crap. Every other movie on here, there are certain things that I could say I can understand why some people would like these films, but Crazy Rich Asians, there's Asians. And that's the reason why I got nominated. There's nothing else there. Tina says, sometimes there's nothing like a good dubbed bad movie, and Odin just went off the air on my TV. I am sorry to hear that. Hybrid says, that's the exact problem I had with Venom. It clearly wanted to focus complexity with Eddie and Venom when apparently was all over the place for me, in my opinion. And that's the reason why I personally liked Venom after the first 30 minutes, because I actually liked the dynamic between the two. But I also will admit, objectively, it is a flawed movie. But I still had fun with it. So, Hyprin had made a comment. Hyper says, that's the exact problem. Okay, I got that one. Greta says, there is a story in Roma. I can't argue with you, but for me, it emotionally touched me. And Greta, again, I'm glad that in your subjective opinion that you enjoyed the movie. I'm glad that felt that way to you. The problem that I had with it was from more of an objective standpoint, which is that, yes, it's beautiful to look at, but overall, the characters are not well developed. Things just happen for the sake of happening on screen. And I know that's kind of the point, to let life itself just happen before you. But at the end of the day, I don't really see anything else other than, you know, the people involved with the project that's going to really lead it to being one of the best films of the year. Viber Chief says, stop chilling my flaming hot Cheetos. No, never. Greta says, also, if you didn't like The Favorite, don't watch Mary Queen of Scots. A lot of identity political stuff. Yeah, Greta, I remember you telling me about that. So that is definitely a film that if I do go to see it, it's going to be a second screening. So I'm going to go pay to see something else and then maybe walk in to see that instead. Super says, Roma looked so good, but I did not get it at all. It was one of the best few movies that I had to watch more than one sitting. Yeah, I mean, it's a movie to me that I was bored to tears. I was looking at my watch constantly, which was sad because the cinematography was gorgeous. I did really like to see the way that every image is crafted because it is beautiful. But that's about it. I mean, that's pretty much all that it's just a nicely presented thing. There really isn't anything more to it than that, in my own opinion. Again, that's just my opinion. Nemesis says, yes, you said bad crap. You're welcome. You're welcome. Super says, have you seen The Lobster? It was done by the same director as The Favorite, and some trusted critics, I said it was good. I actually like The Lobster. However, I also think The Lobster is one that you need to watch twice in order to appreciate fully, and that there are some major problems with the overall story. It is very bizarre. It is extremely bizarre, but it's well shot, well acted as well, and it's a film that I would never watch again, which is why it's definitely not going to win any awards from me. But I would say that it's one that I would say, hey, go ahead and try it and see how you feel. It's just me personally. It's another film, though, where I feel like there's no points. I feel like the whole time I'm like, what is the point of this movie? Which I guess now is that person's specialty, because The Favorite, I feel the same way. Harvin says, so I guess Vice was this year's Darkest Hour. Kind of, the difference being that Darkest Hour gives a character study of Winston Churchill and does so in a very non-political sense, meaning it's not trying to present Churchill as a saint, and it's also not trying to demonize Churchill. Vice, on the other hand, very clearly being made by Hollywood, is there to try and make trying to make Dick Cheney look evil, look bad, and also make fun of George W. Bush, because that's all that Hollywood can do at this point. They can't move past it. Suicide. Odin fans, we are Venom. Super says, Identity Politics and Queen of Scots. Damn it, looks like it's look like I'm streaming it now. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. That's what Greta says, and if Greta says it, then it probably is there, because Greta is not one to usually talk about that kind of stuff. So I would trust her on that with a lot. Sith Kryptonian, hey Odin, thanks for retweeting my stream earlier. Appreciate it, my dude. No problem, Sith Kryptonian. Cannot wait to be on the stream coming up. So thank you so much for being an awesome person. But yeah, so that was one of the main things I wanted to talk about, was the PGA Awards. Just get to get that off my chest, because it was very frustrating for me. And then, of course, we talked about the Rian Johnson situation already as well. The one last thing I want to talk about is the film Wreck-It Ralph, or Wreck-It Ralph 2, or Ralph Breaks the Internet. So, obviously, I could spend a lot of time talking about why it's flawed. I can spend a lot of time talking about how we have way too many animated sequels. We need to stop. We need more original content out there. And we need, especially if there's going to be a sequel, we need to stop having these sequels that literally do not have to exist, that have no reason to exist whatsoever. The biggest problems, though, when it comes to Wreck-It Ralph, and this is something that I've mentioned before in my reviews on Letterboxd and also over on Twitter as well, is that basically the writers and directors and creators of the movie spend the most time trying to put as many product placements in it as possible. And it's not like the fun type of product placements where, you know, it's a Facebook symbol, but it doesn't say Facebook. It's off-brand so as to avoid copyright, and then you don't have to pay royalties. No. As soon as they enter the internet, literally every single major corporation is being represented. So that was my first problem, was because they spent way too much time trying to give that kind of showcasing to the actual product placements, rather than focusing on the story of the film. So I really do think that it kind of detracted from it. But the biggest problem that I had with Wreck-It Ralph is the message that it says at the very end of the film. Because obviously there's some story elements that I think are disjointed, and I can go even deeper into objectively with the problems with it. But the biggest problem with the overall movie is the message that it tells about Vanellope. So if anyone doesn't know any of the story, in the first Wreck-It Ralph movie, Vanellope is a character in Candy Crush. Vanellope has this issue where she has a what's it called? A glitch. And so therefore she is kept from competing in the actual game. Eventually the evil person is, I don't want to spoil anything, but is overthrown, and then eventually she is established into the game. So she starts to get bored with her life. The internet is now introduced into the actual video game arcade, and so now they have access to be able to get there. And what they want to try and do is they want to try and save the shop because the game ends up breaking. They need to get some, as my dogs freak out, they need to get something on eBay, and so therefore they need to try and figure it out. Now, the problem comes in with the fact that at the end of the movie, the whole time, there's a tension that's building up between Vanellope and Ralph, because they obviously had, they had been trying to make very clear their, oh man. Oh, sorry, Edward Coleman, thank you so much for the $10 donation, man. Appreciate it. What do you think Hollywood's endgame is with changing history in movies? Do they think no one has ever read a book, or is it history major? Do they really think they can make history and fit the narrative they wanted to? Edward Coleman, that's a great question. So I'll get back to Wreck-It Ralph in a second, but this is important because they, at this point, know that the general public is so dumb, they can write history whichever way they want. And even though there are some people who will say, I want to know more, and dig deeper into it and find out, oh, not everything in there was true, they know that enough people are ignorant enough to take what they see at face value. It's the same type of person, and I remember this in college, where they would watch The Daily Show, and that's where they would get their news from. And even though you would talk to them about that, and they would say, oh, no, it's not, it's a comedy show, I know it's not news. When it came to it, if they weren't getting their news from that, they were getting it from SNL. Because you would talk to them about different stories going on, and almost every time they would quote something from one of those shows, and that's where they would form their opinion of. So Hollywood and the elitists in Hollywood have done this very well for a long time now. So at this point in time, they could put anything out there. They could change history in whatever way that they want. In whatever way that they want. Knowing that enough people will buy into their lies, will buy into their propaganda, will not do research, will not look up, will not fact check, and will not only take that information with them, but pass it on to their friends, who might also be ignorant, pass it on to their children, who obviously won't know much of anything else. And the same type of mentality is also being perpetuated in higher education as well. Very, very good question, though, and I'm glad I was able to talk about it. But no, I think that it's very dangerous what they're doing now and what they have the capacity to do, where they can essentially just change history whenever the hell they want to fit their own political narrative, and a lot of people will buy into it. So getting back to Wreck-It Ralph for a second, the biggest problem is that Vanellope, at the very end of the movie, has a very strong tension with Ralph, and their friendship starts to break apart. And the message of the film, because eventually they actually go separate ways, and the message of the film is that Vanellope wants to chase her dreams, wants to fulfill her dreams. And Ralph realizes, oh, I can't be selfish and hold her back for my own sake. And some people might just stop there and say, okay, well, I don't see the problem. The problem is that she, Vanellope, has a responsibility to all the other characters in her game. Because she and they do not know what will happen to the game if she's not a part of it. Because obviously she's a part of the code of the game, and she is very crucial to it. And so instead of focusing on that, though, the message of the film is that, no. You go and pursue your dreams no matter what is behind you. Forsake anyone who needs to be forsaken. Do whatever it is you need to do to pursue your dreams. And that is a terrible message for our kids, for young girls. And I mean, this is liberal indoctrination right here. This is the same type of modern day third wave feminism that we're seeing, where no, don't let anything weigh you down. Pursue your dreams no matter what. Motherhood, that's a weight that's going to hold you down. Go and pursue your dreams. Your family, that's going to hold you down. Go and pursue your dreams. Leave everything behind. It's the same mindset that led to, and this is true, look it up for yourself, led to many women who became huge feminist icons, leaving their families for themselves. And that type of self-centeredness, that type of egoism is not something that I want my kids, when I have kids, or anyone's kids, to be taught. That's what Wreck-It Ralph preaches. Now, some people might not see it right away. Some people might not get it. But that is the overall messaging of the film. And it really didn't take, it took me a little while after to really process, oh my God, I can't believe that they actually made that message. And I couldn't believe it. And of course, everything works out. And that's also the problem, is that she does this. She leaves everything behind. She leaves her game behind. And then everything's fine. Everything works out. Reality doesn't work that way. You can't just abandon people that rely on you. You just can't abandon everything behind you for your own dreams. Yes, you should pursue your dreams, but if you're forsaking others in the process, no, that's not something that needs to be promoted. And that is exactly what Wreck-It Ralph 2 promotes. And that's why it is probably one of my lowest grades. I gave it a C-. It's very close to getting into the D range for me, though, because of the kind of message that's putting out there. Sorry, anyway, It's a Trap Productions. Wow, so much loyalty for loyalty to friends or family. Hey, my lord, no, seriously. Like, and that's Wreck-It Ralph 2 is a terrible movie. Don't bring your kids to see it. I'm just like, they might not get it. You may not even see it either, because I didn't even get it right away. But I from the moment that the film ends, I thought, okay, wait, that was not a very good ending. Like, that's not a really good message. But it took me a second to realize, oh my God, this can easily lay down the season foundation of these kids saying, well, I want to be like, I mean, I can see young women, young girls being like, I want to be like Vanellope and go and pursue my dreams, whatever that means, leaving behind, whatever risk that means. And that's a problem. Super says, so Wreck-It Ralph teaches little children the current overly obsessed millennial mentality. Exactly right. Exactly right. On top of third wave feminism. On top of third wave feminism. Soul Assassin says, Odin, I just saw they live, and it perfectly describes the current climate we're living in now. We need Roddy Piper back. Damn right we do, man. Alexander says, scan for every Disney movie from now on. I mean, again, I like overall the Disney movies, so this is the first one that I've noticed that has had that kind of a political message, but I definitely will be on my guard from now on, because if that kind of messaging is in there, then that I don't want. Yeah, that's something I will definitely warn you guys about if I ever notice that again. So Wreck-It Ralph 2 is not a film to take to your kids. Hyman says, was Incredibles 2 worth the watch? Heard it was an average sequel. It was an average sequel. It's a film 10 years too late. It's a good movie. I enjoyed it a lot. 10 years too late. Inflamed Wood, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. How's it, Odin? Happy New Year, Asgardians. Well, thank you very much, man. I really do appreciate that. Thank you. I really do. Eric Wajala says, Mike from RLM said it best. You may not have noticed it, but your brain did. Wait, are you talking about for Wreck-It Ralph? I'm sorry, I'm a little confused there. Let's see. Jagan says, Odin, this probably happened because the Emoji Movie ended with Jailbreak staying with Gene, and they felt like he held her back, so the writers made Vanellope actually leave because she's a female going her own way. No, and again, like, they took what could have been a really great story of friendship and what it means to possibly be too over demanding on your friends, and I think that was a good message, but it wasn't just the relationship between Vanellope and Ralph that was being affected. She was a part of a game. And she was the primary character of that game. Let's imagine that this was all real. Let's imagine for this for a second. Let us imagine that Sonic the Hedgehog decided to leave his game to pursue his dreams. Not caring what happens to Tails or Knuckles or any of the characters in the game. I mean, that's the equivalency here. And that's what the movie's trying to present, is that, no, that doesn't matter. What you're leaving behind doesn't matter. It's your future. Your dreams are what matter. And you should be able to do whatever you want to pursue your dreams. Dream big and do whatever you want. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with dreaming. Dreaming is good. We should pursue our dreams. But if we're forsaking others in the process and just saying, screw you, that's where the problem comes in, and that's what this movie preaches. Harper says, do you think Walt Disney would be surprised with how Disney manages his entertainment now, or would he not care and would make a difference? I think he would care a lot. Not just the reason why he would care, though, is because he was of a different era. He was of a different generation where there was a much stronger sense of morality. I'm not saying that he was a perfect person, but there was a much stronger sense of morality, and I think that's the reason why he would have had a very different point of view. Eric Rajala says, yeah, the message from Wreck-It Ralph. Exactly. It kind of hit you in the head at the very end. Laura, thank you so very much for the $5 donation. Appreciate it. Also, guys, if you haven't noticed yet, there is a bar down here. So I have started to vlog, and one of the issues that I noticed with my vlogging camera is that when you use a phone, there's just issues with the camera itself, with stabilization, with the actual footage that is shot, and also it goes into the editing process as well. So I figured I'd start another one of those campaigns to try and get a vlogging camera, do more vlogging content for the Welcome to Asgard channel, and if it's good enough, if I get good enough at editing on that channel, then I'll bring it over to the main channel as well. But anyway, the one that I'm looking at is in the $300 range, and so if you want to donate, you have to go through Streamlabs. So if you want to help this number, it has to go through Streamlabs. And if we can reach this goal, it would be awesome. And I would be loving to bring more content to you guys. The other cool thing about the one that I'm looking into is that it's not like you holding a phone. It's literally this little thing that doesn't even look like a camera. And so it's something that I could bring almost anywhere with me. And I'm kind of excited to be able to try that new venture. So anyway, yeah, if you want to donate, great. If you don't have to, but if you want to donate, again, this is the bar that's keeping track of everything. And if you donate through Streamlabs, like what Laura has done, Edward Coleman has done, that is how it will get in through me and count towards that. Jagan75 says, Odin, that's what's going on in the live-action Sonic movie. He's going to be the only one from the game with Eggman. Really? They're ruining everything. Study Me says, say you patrons of Asgard own it a podcast with the Valkyrie, super ad for it. Yes, guys, tomorrow, I said this in the very beginning, but I will remind you, since now I have more people watching, if you are a Patreon member, there is going to be a new podcast episode dropping tomorrow for everyone that is in the $5 and up tiers, and it will be featuring the Valkyrie. So you'll be able to hear the voices of the Valkyrie, and I will be asking them various questions, and we had a blast. It's about an hour-long conversation, and it was so much fun. Steph and Tina are amazing people, so if you want to hear that, huge shout out to Laura, who recommended that as being an episode. So hope you like that, Laura. And please also, if you are a part of those tiers as well, leave a comment below when it goes live tomorrow about ideas that you would like to see for next week's podcast, or possibly even on a future podcast. If there's someone that you want me to try and bring in an interview, if there's a topic that you want me to cover, all of these things. Ultra Trap Productions says, Dr. Robotnik would try to make the games about him, but it wouldn't work out, even though it's been proven that he can run just as fast as Sonic. Yeah, that's true. Peabody says, Sonic is leaving his car in the middle of nowhere. Pretty much. I was using it as an equivalency, not as something that's actually happening. Hireman says, even in Infinity War, it acknowledges that no trading lives for another sacrificial decisions were a great message from that movie. It surprises me Wreck-It Ralph does the complete opposite. I know, seriously. Like, instead of self-sacrifice, which is what true love is, it's all about, no, if you love somebody, you need to let them go. And that means also the person that's being let go can just leave everything behind, no matter what. Greta says, Odin, you should add some royalty-free music to your vlogs. Greta, thank you so much. I'm definitely looking into that. I am terrible at editing at this point, so I might try and get some tips from you about how you edit your videos. And also, I think that instead of trying to do a vlog and then get it all done the same day, I'm going to try and take a little bit more time with it. But I think my phone has caused an issue with it, so we'll see. Alexander says, next Odin Fun, month's dog food. No, we're good there, man. We're covered there. That's okay. Ariok says, on a slightly different spin, do you think messages like the one in Wreck-It Ralph 2 are contributing to the exploding MG Tau population? What is MG Tau? Just let me know. Just put Odin in your next comment, and then I will answer the question once I know what that is. Super says, a Sonic movie was already enough of a mistake. Does anyone know the studio behind it? I don't, but I hear that the trailer is absolutely awful, so... Oh, wait, more people are streaming? Great. Greta says, some great royalty-free music, www.bensound.com. Well, thank you very much, Greta. I use Purple Planet, which has some pretty good stuff. That's what I use for my podcast. So I just don't know what I'm doing with it. And the main reason why is because I'm very self-conscious about pulling out my phone, but also, too, my front camera sucks. So literally, I at this point with the camera setup I have to use my back camera, so I can't see the actual image itself. And it's just so awkward because I'm having to hold it out like this. The one that I'm looking at trying to get for the channel is one that I can just like hold it just right in front of my face, and it does like face tracking and really just cool stuff. And I think it'd be really cool to add it to the channel. Super says, Odin, also don't know how I just noticed this, but are you dressed fancy? No, I'm wearing my Odin's, guys, check this out, because you can also find this in the comments below. I'm wearing my Odin's Movie Blog t-shirt. So we do have t-shirts now if it's been a while for you. Check the description below for a link to it for Teespring. And yeah, go check it out. We have a a basic t-shirt design and also a premium one. The premium one has more color options, but it's also extremely comfortable. That's the one that I have. Uh-oh. Nope. Bad girl. Sorry, River was trying to eat my wallet, so I'm glad that I caught that before she got too far into it. Let's see. Greta says, Odin used Purple Planet for my video today. Nice. I like Purple Planet. The Lee System says, I would like to stay and watch. However, I just finished a 14-hour shift, so I'm going to bed. Have a good night. Thank you very much, man. Have a good night. Super. Sony producing Sonic. I bet it's Sony, probably. Suicide. Men going their own way. Hyperprint. On Netflix, they put the whole Indiana Jones franchise, yet no original Star Wars movies, nor the whole series, except for The Last Jedi being there. Well, the reason why is because Disney is taking its content off to eventually put on their streaming service. So that actually makes sense to me. Laura, your reaction to Captain Marvel ad in the theater was funny. I'm glad I'm glad you liked it. I saw it and I was like, oh my god, it's this giant Captain Marvel standee. I have to boo it. I have to. I don't care who's around me. I have to boo it. Ultra Trap Productions says, Paramount is doing the live-action Sonic movie, my lord, and it looks awful so far. If that official poster is any indication, probably. Ariak says, men going their own way. They have sworn off relationships, marriage, etc. Yeah, I mean, I definitely. So, Ariak, let me try and get back to your original question. So, on a slight different spin, do you think the messages like the one in Wreck-It Ralph are contributing to the exploiting population? Yes, I really do think that. Yes. The reason why is because if you have women being told, go live your life, and don't marry, and don't. I mean, I'm not trying to say that every woman needs to be shackled and blah, 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 all this stuff. You know, the typical response of, "Oh my gosh, it's just like The Handmaid's Tale." The problem is that they're instead being told, "Go and do whatever you want to do, and just leave everything else behind." And I think that it definitely does contribute to that. I think that Wreck-It Ralph's message will definitely contribute to that as well. I got you. Men going their own way. Jenkins says, Odin, the people behind the live-action Sonic movie is Paramount Action Animation or just Paramount, a.k.a. Viacom. Sega is working on it too. Okay. Interesting. Hyman says, Odin, even though I subjectively like the Mortal Kombat game movie as a guilty pleasure, objectively I can't deny it's pretty bad. No, exactly. Hyman, exactly right. Objectively, it is awful. Subjectively, I love it. You got it. Super. Oh, okay, your jacket kind of looks like a sports coat on screen, at least to me. Oh, no, yeah. Sorry, yeah. This is a work jacket, so it's just a comfy jacket because it finally got cold, and I love it. Mr. Peabody says, Odin, we should do a photo album of people all over the world wearing your t-shirt. Sounds like a good idea. So take a good, as high-quality picture as you can and email it to me, and I'll try and put that together. That's a good idea, Peabody. Tina says, if you haven't already smashed the like button, yes, please smash that like button. Jeremy Swiggs, Odin, did you notice the cussing in Incredible 2? I didn't expect or appreciate that from a kid's movie. They cussed? I don't remember that happening in the movie. Hyperman says, Odin Paramount went from making one of the greatest movies of all time in The Godfather to an unnecessary live-action cash grab Sonic movie. Pretty much. Guys, that reminds me. I have to open up a gift. So I received my first gift. If you want to send me anything, because there's some people who just like doing that kind of stuff. If you want to send me anything, I have a P.O. box now. So check the description for this video, and you can find it there. Heimdall will also put it out every now and then. The Valkyrie will put it out every now and then as well. But I received my first package from the... I know, presents! So I was going to wait till the next live stream. This happens to be the next live stream, so yeah. I'm not seeing... All right. Obviously, I'm not going to reveal who sent it. And it has already spoken to me, so I already have an idea of what it is because it made a sound, which just has me very much excited. But, I mean, it's a big box. It's an Amazon box. So, Alexander says, what do you think SJWs will accuse Jeremy Geeksy Gamer of sexual assault? I mean, SJWs are going to convince him, or going to accuse him of racism and sexism and all kinds of things, because that's just what they do. And he'll be fine because, you know, he has a lot of support here. Tina says, okay, Odin, the mac and cheese is on the way. Damn right. You send that mac and cheese. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. All right, before I pull that out, I just need to read this. It's an adoption certificate. It's an adoption certificate. And it says, sadly, due to collateral merchandise failure, with hundreds laying waste on store shelves, you, Odin, are hereby tasked with the pardoned Porg to care for. Remember to tend to your Porg daily, since now he is a part of your family. from the Porg Sympathizers Society, dated 12/18/2018, and I have an official adoption certificate, which you can't see because my light is blinding it out, but I have an official adoption certificate for my very own Porg because of collateral merchandise failure with hundreds laying on the ground. And I have been tasked with taking care of it. I need to put this somewhere so that way my dogs don't eat it. Oh, man. Let me just make sure this is... Oh, look at this. Look at this. One Porg to rule them all indeed. One Porg. A gift. Oh, and I think he makes sounds. Oh my god, and my dogs want to eat it. Oh my god, that's so creepy. Oh my god, look at River. She's like, I need to eat it. Feed it to me now. River, leave your... No. This is your new brother. This is your new brother. You must leave him alone. Do not eat your brother, please. Thank you. But anyway, this is the Porg. And he dances as River again is moving my camera trying to get to him. They are so upset. I'm gonna put him up there. Well, anyway, to whoever sent that, thank you so much. I guess I'll just say your first name, because again, I don't want to. I know that some people are worried about their privacy, so. Ethan sent that to me. I don't know who you are, but Ethan, thank you very much, Ethan, for sending me that. That's hilarious, and I will do the very best that I can to take care of him. What should we name him, guys? Let me start hearing some names. But first, Super says Paramount seems to be another going downhill. Only good thing is Viacom owns them, so they're probably safe. But it makes sense they'd move to make a way too much late out of touch Sonic movie. Hybrid says one port to rule them all. Alexander says feed the monster to the hounds behind you. Maybe one day, but I mean, I was given an adoption certificate, so I kind of want to take that seriously. Seed Trixie says Odin might end up competing against Anna for Porgs. Damn right, man. Yes, I'm gonna name it. Peabody, you can roast that up and eat it during the movie night tomorrow. Intertrap Production says that Porg would make a great chew toy. I would say that, only it's mechanical. If it was just stuffed, I would say yes, but it has mechanical parts, so definitely not one made for the puppies, that's for sure. Laura says that's one chunky Porg. It's a very chunky Porg. You're right about that. Hybrid says, perform the exorcism of the Porg toy. Kiko Rogers says, what golden girl would you be, Blanche? No question. 70B says, hey, it has a wheel on the bottom and it rolls across the floor. Does it really? Does it really move? It waddles and moves. Oh my god, you're right. Wow. Well, that's something that I'll have to vlog at some point. My dog's reaction to it, because that's going to be hilarious. Intertrap says, name him Loki, Porg Butt. Porg Butt. CWD says, call your Porg Dibble. Laura says, is that Ethan Van Sciver, Pudgy the Porg? Jeremy Swig says, have you sweet puppies ever eaten your collectibles? No, not yet. They have not eaten any collectibles yet, because I keep the really, really nice ones that Mr. Peabody sent me, like the 1977 original action figures, are up on my shelf, very far away from them, so that way they could never get them. So yeah. Hybrid says the Porg is thickalicious. Also, Edward Coleman, thank you so much for the $5 donation, man. The Mortal Kombat trilogy, one is subjectively and all the objectively amazingly fun. Oh yes, absolutely. It might be the best video game adaptation ever because it's just that much damn fun. Greta says, that reminds me of a Furby. I could see that. I could definitely see that. Kiko Rogers says, you might receive a Chia Blanche. Oh my god. A Chia Blanche. That'd be fantastic. Alexander says, please ban the next one who sends you awful The Last Jedi merchandise. Absolutely not, man. Because at the end of the day, this stuff is just going to rot anyway. And so if it can be a joke and make me smile on my channel, I have no problem at all receiving it. Hybrin says, game of porgs. Porgies are coming. Mr. Peabody says, Odin, give the porg to Willow. She will eat off the soft parts and use the mechanical bits to make you something useful, like a rancor. Oh my god, that's fantastic. Oh, that's great, Peabody. Hybrid says, Odin, it is the best game adaptation ever in my opinion, and it's a fact, Mahler. Yep, I agree there. Angel Butler says, did you get my gift? Angel, is that you? Angel, did you send the porg? Is this from you? Angel, is this your gift? Or has yours not arrived yet? All right. While I'm waiting on Angel to respond, let me go ahead and pull up my patrons so that way I can give them a shout out in a second. Oh my god. But seriously, thank you so much, man. That's just, again, I cannot wait to see how they, one, Freya is going to love it because Freya loves porgs. I will say, of all the things in The Last Jedi, I actually think the porgs are absolutely adorable. So I love it, but I know Freya's going to love it as well, and I'm sure my dogs will love it as well, too. So we'll see what she has to say about that. Let's see. Hybrid says, Odin, has this been asked, who is your favorite MCU character besides Thor? I like Hulk, personally, so that's why Ragnarok was one of my favorites, because I got to see them have like a buddy cop type film, and it was great. Darth Morrill says, Odin, there's news on the Batman project. Check it out. Okay. Do the very best I can. Viper Chief, Odin be getting super chats out the ass. Nemesis gave me a huge one, man, and I really do appreciate it. 54 people watching still. Been getting a bunch of things. Yeah, Reed Palancia gave me 50. Leith Lightning gave me 5. Nemesis gave me 100. Edward Coleman gave me 15 in total. Laura gave me 5. And Flame Wood gave me 5. And again, you are all amazing people. Like both those who donate and don't donate, just by giving me your time, it really does mean a lot. And also for the 3 of you guys that donated to the Streamlabs, thank you so much for getting me on the way to getting the new vlog camera. It would be awesome to be able to get that in time to do this introduction with the to get this introduction with the porg with my puppies over the weekend. But obviously I'm not going to push anyone. I'm not going to hustle anybody for like, give me your money, give me your money. I'm not going to do that. But again, anything that you want to, it's appreciated. Alexander says, your angel of death awaits, probably a lactating C-blob. Super says, Odin porgs are innocent and infinitely memeable. They're cool. They can stay. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I feel too. Let's see. Hybrid says, Rian Johnson wants you to buy more porgs in order to make his trilogy. I can feel it through the Force Master Odin. Okay, well, that's why I'm not buying it. So, you know, I'm not going to buy a porg, at least at this point. Now that I have my own porg. I actually have 2 porgs because Peabody sent me a little miniature porg action figure that's hilarious and cute. Darth Morrill says, Odin, the reports says Warner Brothers eyeing for production start on Batman for November 2019. So production starting in November? All right. That's going to be interesting. I wonder which Batman movie they're going to be making and who is going to be Batman at the time. That means that they have to make a decision soon, I'm assuming. Greta is noticing Willow. So, guys, if you can see in the corner right over here, that's my little baby. And she falls asleep like that sometimes. So she's staring at the toy, but she's also getting very, very heavy in the eyes. And so, yeah, she's getting very tired. And she's so cute and adorable when she does that. When she does that. Jagan75 says, Odin, if you can make an alien species for Star Wars, what would it look like? I would say giant human-like creatures with giant beards. And no, I'm not typecasting. Alexander says, looking at the actor interviews where they ask them about #MeToo is like a just Gestapo man asking you what you think of the Jews. No. Alexander, there is no correlation that can be made between the Gestapo and people being interviewed, being asked questions in today's world. Absolutely no correlation at all. That is totally off base, man. I have to say that. Not true at all. Not even close, man. So please don't say things like that. Kaylin says, sleepy puppy. Yes, indeed. She's a very sleepy puppy. Hybrid says, Odin, has Willow seen the movies Widows yet? Get it? The rhymes. Ha. Ha. Oh, you're so funny. Oh, you're so funny. Peabody says, jam the switch on the Porg so it makes noise constantly and leave it next to the neighbor's fence, the ones who complain about the puppies barking. Yes, and then give them a legitimate reason to call the cops and then have an entirely different issue on my hands. So one thing I do want to do at one point is in my vlog quickly show the dark side, the gates of Mordor, as I like to call it, from the evil neighbors that we dare not speak of. Super says, don't remember if you've been asked this before, but speaking of Batman, who would you want to replace Affleck? One of the people at the top of my list is actually Jake Gyllenhaal. Now, of course, he is caught up in another superhero film, so that is kind of out of the question, but I love Gyllenhaal, and I think he would be a great, I mean, he would be a young Batman, but not too young. I mean, the guy's in his 40s now, so I think he could pull off a pretty good Batman personally. I think Jake Gyllenhaal is one of the most talented actors. Darth Moral says, is that Rose Tico on your mic? Damn right it is. Aussie Rose Tico, coming from Australia. Suicide says, do a Jar Jar impersonation. Mr. Jar Jar Binks. Meet your loyal servant. Terrible at it. Hypern says, Mordor and Empire theme are the best evil army themes, subjectively, in my opinion. No. I think you're right, and I think objectively they're the most iconic. I don't think you could say anyone would. I would say if you put a room of 20 people, put it into a room 20 people, play those two, and the vast majority will recognize them and understand what they're what they're meant to convey. Sammy B says, I really like the puppy gate you and Freya have. Very nice. I'm glad that you watched the vlog. Guys, on my secondary channel, welcome to Asgard, I did put up a vlog of my outing today, and so you do get to see a little bit of the house and my car and things like that. So thank you for appreciating the puppy gate. We need it because sometimes we need a little separation from them, because otherwise they'll get in the back, they'll find anything that they shouldn't have, they will find and they will destroy, much like the Porg that's sitting at the very top. Jagan says, John Talks is live. I love John Talks. How is he live? Is he live from his camera? I know that he's having internet issues, so I guess he's streaming straight from his phone. B says, Rose went Irish on the Geeks and Gamers 24-hour stream. That was funny. Yes, Rose did go Irish. That's true. Daybob says, Batman wasn't always an old man. No, seriously. That's why you could easily tell a Batman story at a different point in his career. However, I think that with the Batman movie we're talking about, that's going to start production 2019, I think it's going to be a DCEU one, so therefore they're going to want some continuity there. And so something tells me that they'll probably keep the same person. Caitlin, Keeper of the Jeremy, says Jar Jar impression is better than Jeremy Jar Jar impression. Well, it's because Jeremy is not a very good impersonator. Let's just be honest here. Jeremy is not the best of personalities on the internet. Let me just say that. He can't even grow a beard. So can you really trust him? Can you really trust him if he can't even grow a beard? That's all I'm saying. I'm not speculating anything. Hybrid says, Jar Jar Abrams is the key to all of this, as George Lucas once said. Possibly. Alexander says, how much do your dogs listen to you? Depends. It depends on what's going on. It depends on what I'm saying to them. But I would say 75% of the time they listen to me. Laura, did you name your Porg? No, I haven't seen any names that really stick out to me. Greta says, something I saw in the vlog, and I also commented, you can print your tickets from an A-list at the machine. I keep going to the box office. Yes. So basically just I have a physical card. If all you need to do is go up to the machine and make sure the printer's working, because it'll tell you if it's offline or anything like that. Put it in, swipe it, and you'll get your ticket stub. You could also just go into the theater and have them scan it at the ticket station and not have to worry about anything at all. I like physical tickets, though, because I collect my tickets, which is why I don't do that. But, yeah, just take your Stubs card, swipe it, and then it'll give you an option to pick up your pre-bought tickets, and it'll print out for you. That's what I do every time. Tina says, you're parking a mile from the theater. Oh, my God, I'm not parking a mile from the theater. It's not that far. I like being far enough to where I'm not near people. I don't like being next to people. Like, again, for me, the movie-going experience is oftentimes much appreciated as like a solo experience, and so I want to try and be as isolated as possible, especially now that I'm starting to do some vlogs. I want to make sure I'm able to not like freak people out. So another one of the reasons why I'm trying to get an actual vlogging camera, so that way people aren't like, oh, he's talking to his phone. I don't know. It just because the one I'm looking at is very, very like discreet. And it's the reason why, like, if I get it, it's going to motivate me that much more to actually do more vlogs. So if you like my vlogs and you want more of it sooner, think about donating to the fund for it. Hyman says, imagine Sean Connery playing Gandalf. You shall not pass. I know exactly what you're talking about there. Jeremy Swig says, Jeremy hasn't hit puberty yet. Damn right he hasn't. Oh, damn, man. Edward Coleman, thank you so much for the $50 donation, man. Thank you. For the camera and maybe a little greasing the palms for Team America World Police movie night. Hey, man, it's one of my favorite movies, so I would totally be down with that. Edward Coleman, then, thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. Dude, like, Edward Coleman, guys, is, like, an extremely generous person, because he's not just doing this. He's also just doing so much more, and I really do appreciate everything that he's been doing for me, and all the, he's been very generous with donations. And I know that he's been going through a lot lately as well. So thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate it. And thank you. It really does. That's awesome, man. And I will definitely keep Team America up there. It is one of my favorite movies. Let's see. Alexander says they are loyal beasts unless they're starving for a table. Greta says, I collect tickets too. That's why I'm asking. You have a physical card for A-list? Yeah, because I was already a Stubbs card owner, I had that card. So you might be able to ask for a physical card. But now that they're trying to kind of move everything to digital, you might not be able to get one, unfortunately. So you might just be stuck. Suicides, a grunt says, given your thoughts on Godzilla King of Monsters, what's your favorite monster? Mothra. Mothra was always just so damn cool. Wait, Tina had said something. Tina says, I was kidding. I do the same thing. Nice. Good. I'm about to say, like, I move far away. I move far away as well. Tina says, I already got that one. Hyper says, that actually almost happened, but Sean Connery said he wasn't impressed with the script. Wonder what he thinks back on that decision. He's probably confident. He seems like a pretty confident guy, so it wouldn't surprise me. Hyper says, Odin, that actually almost happened, but Sean Connery. Okay, God, I keep reading those. Kigo Rogers says, name your porg Yggdrasil. Maybe. Peabody says, Odin, your parking reminding me of Clark Griswold parking at Wally World. Nice. Jagan says, are you afraid of the dark? The movie is coming in theaters this year along with Dora live action, and next year live action Tom and Jerry. Also did see Teen Titans go to the movies. I did not see Teen Titans go to the movies, but to the other ones you mentioned, please stop remaking everything. Make original content, please. Please just stop. Yes, Edward from Twilight. You're absolutely right about that. DJD Show Live. I stand with Odin. Well, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. It's a Trap says, my lord, how about we name the porg Jeremy the Porg? only if we get my dogs to eat it at some point. But we'll see what Frey has to say about that. Let's see. Daybob says, Odin, I go to matinees early showing a week, so after opening, I do not like a lot of people in theater. I'm the same way. I like empty theaters. And actually, funny thing, so I bought some pens that light up, like the tip lights up, so that way it's good for taking notes in the dark. The problem is that it shines bright as the sun. And so when I went to the theater, I was like, great, there's plenty of people around, and I don't want to distract them. So I ended up not being able to use it. I'll be able to use it at home when I watch movies in here in the man cave and turn all the lights off. And when I go to see a movie that no one's there for in the back row. But yeah, I've noticed the same thing. Viper Chief says, Odin shall give me all the Cheetos. No, they're my Cheetos. Hybrid says, probably going to get hate saying this, but positively, honestly, like this channel and the Asgardians here compared to Jeremy's. That's just me. Well, Hybrid, thank you, man. I really do appreciate that. I mean, obviously, everyone's going to be drawn to something different. And so I think that that's definitely something I can appreciate. And I know that Jeremy would respect that as well because, different people, different personalities, different interests. So thank you. I really do appreciate that. Kiko Rogers says, Yggdrasil is the tree of life. Yeah, I figured. Porgington Bird. Study B says, Odin runs to Chariots of Fire to the theater. Yes, exactly. Oh my God. Yes, I need to add that. Yes, I love these ideas, guys. Keep them coming. Suicide Grunts of America. I cringed so hard at the Captain Marvel stuff when I went to the theater this week. Yeah. Huro. Do you believe in the Huro? Hybrid says, I heard Won't You Be My Neighbor was good. Have you seen it yet? Yes, it was on one of my best. It was an honorable mention for my top 10 list of the year. So it's actually in my top movies of the year list, which you can find my entire top movies of the list year over on my Letterboxd account. So go check that out. It's fantastic. It is the only documentary I think I saw this year. Maybe I saw one other, and it is fantastic. It is absolutely great. Super says, dude, I didn't even know that Dora was still on the air as a child of the 2000s. I confirm this movie 20 years too late. It's gonna bomb hard. Yeah, probably. Frank says, Jeremy was so mean to our Odin on Jeremy's 24 Hours. He was so mean to me, man. He was rude. How rude? Jagan says, Odin, they're also remaking West Side Story in Dallas. The movie is coming. Yes, I've heard about West Side Story, and I'm just cringing all over because they don't need to. Porkins the Porg. Laura, you win the day. You are hereby dubbed. You are hereby consecrated Sir Porkins the Porg, as described and given by Laura Story. Thank you so much. That was an amazing name. And yes, Porkins the Porg. Fantastic. Peabody, call the Porg Grop. That's how I read it upside down. Nice. Frank says, Laura, it's a short story. Odin, oh my god, Porkins the Porg. Yes, Sir Porkins. And not just Porkins. He's Sir Porkins. Sir Porkins. Oh my god. Well, no, they're sleeping. I don't want to wake him up. Sorry, my dogs are sleeping, and I would push his belly right now to like have him like get all giddy and excited. But the last thing that I want right now is my sweet little pups, as they are just. So basically, my little black dog River is just like in a tiny ball under my desk right now, and it's the cutest thing ever. And then if you can see, you can see a little bit of her over the orange couch, but she's also, Willow is curled up in a little ball on the chair. So Soul Assassin says, Odin versus Jason Momoa in a battle of the beards. Oh man, Jason Momoa would give me a fight for my money, man, because he's got a pretty nice beard. And he takes care of it as well. Laura says, someone in the chat said Porkins, let me see who. Be right back. All right, man. Yes, thank you so much for giving, for letting us give the proper attribution there. Super says, Spielberg, hey guys, we should remake West Side Story Hollywood. Yay, Steven, we love you. Everyone else, no, stop it. Shame on you. Seriously. Steven Spielberg, you're a great director, but please just stop remaking every single thing. He does have a nice everything, Steph. You're right. And that's why I love, if y'all have not seen the John Talks video about how Jason Momoa is bringing in all the ladies to go see the movie, please do, because it is fantastic. Peabody says, Odin, when you were in your car, I was expecting a ZZ Top song. I didn't want to play any music because of copyright. That's the reason why. I was focused on driving, and also the fact that I was filming with the phone. And again, another reason why I'm trying to get this it's called the Osmo Pocket, and it's like this nice little easy one-handed thing. But obviously you can see that holding this while also having my hand on the wheel, I was just like, probably shouldn't be listening to music and being distracted at the same time. So, let's see. Jeremy Swig says, Odin, his stylist keeps it looking good. You put it in the real effort. Yes, that's true. In fact, I don't put, if this is what effort is, then you don't want to know what no effort would be. Hiram says, James Cameron, Steven Spielberg, Ridley Scott, all great, but keep revisiting some stuff or not creating anything new. I agree. I think that they're all near the tail ends of their career. And James Cameron needs to stop making Avatar. Avatar is not a thing. I don't care how much money the first movie made. It was a terrible movie, and it sucked. Just stop. Steven Spielberg still has some talent left in him, but he needs to stop trying to do too much. And Ridley Scott just needs to pick his projects well instead of trying to make something every single year, because he is just doing too much. Laura says, CWD Trixie mentioned Porkins, a Star Wars story, so half credit to Trixie. Okay, so he mentioned that you are the one that dubbed the name to Porkins the Porg. Sir Porkins the Porg, so very good. Peabody says, Odin the glasses, the beard when you were stopped in the car park. Damn right, man. Damn right. I mean, now that you're mentioning it, yeah, I can see why I was definitely looking like ZZ Top, because, I mean, it was fantastic. Obviously, a much younger ZZ Top, that's for sure. Let's see. Daybob says, now that they remade Mary Poppins, what's next? Chitty Chitty Bang Bang? Well, Chickadee Bang Bang has actually been remade a couple of times. And then they also had a stage version of it that came out not too long. I mean, I say not, like 10 years ago. So, I don't know if they'd remake that one. Suicide Grunts of America. What are your thoughts on the Jurassic World movies? The first one was okay. Never saw the second one. I didn't really have a general interest in it because I was like, the first one's okay. I like certain elements to it, obviously, because I'm a Jurassic Park fan. But overall, I still don't think it quite matches up to the originals. And so, but at the very least, Colin Trevorrow takes full blame and responsibility for the movie. So I respect him for that. Suicide Grunts got that one. Hybrid says, I can argue Princess Mononoke was a better version of Avatar. Heck, even Pocahontas. That's just me. Avatar basically borrowed a lot of stuff from past movies. As I've said constantly, Avatar is Pocahontas and Ferngully. If I wanted to watch a movie about someone coming into a native community and falling in love, I would watch Pocahontas or Ferngully for that matter. And if I wanted to be preached to about environmentalism, I'd watch Ferngully because it has music and it makes me smile. Jagan says, next time the media attacks PewDiePie and say he's a Nazi, use the hashtag Pooh loves Jew. I can't believe that the media has run. Like, Vox has been the worst offender of that, too. They have gone after him nonstop. And PewDiePie points this out. The only reason why they do that is to stay relevant. Like, Vox is the worst news organization site on the internet. And they have no credibility whatsoever. So how do they stay relevant? By making up crap like they do every single day and going after people who are high profile enough to try and get them some clicks. Like, that's pretty much what they do. Alexander says, did you hear about James Woods, the actor who's openly conservative and has coincidentally been dropped by an Asian company and slandered as a predator by 3 scumbag actresses? Well, I'm not going to call the actresses scumbags because I don't know them, and obviously there could be a lot of different things going on with that, so I don't know the situation, so I can't comment on it. But as far as him being censored, I do know that his Twitter was shut down for something that he shared, so yes, I do know about that. It's very hard to be a conservative in Hollywood because there is no diversity of thought at all. Let's see. Suicide Grunts of America. Fallen Kingdom is terrible. Yeah, that's what I've heard. Super says, between Cameron, Scott, and Spielberg, which, if any, is the most overrated? James Cameron is the most overrated, only because of Avatar. And he's done so. There are some James Cameron films that are some of my favorite of all time, but because he's made Avatar at this point in their careers, he is the most overrated. The DJD Show Live, thank you for the $2 donation, man. Odin is a Norse god. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate you contributing to the vlog camera fun. It really does mean a lot. Hybrid says, Peter Jackson did good with at least the World War II They Should Not Grow Old documentary. It already came out. Right? Yes, actually, I have access to it, so it is on my list of movies to watch, and it looks awesome. The fact that they're able to take this old footage and slow it down, add color, and make it look real and modern is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Let's see. Super Anime Gamer says, Vox is second worst. Vice is the worst. I would say that they're both up there. Vox to me is worse because I know more about Vox and I've read more Vox titles than Vice, but I'm not denying that Vice is not also terrible and awful at the same time. Avatar equals Ferngully. In fact, if you want to watch a really cool video, someone cut a trailer of Avatar and Ferngully next to each other. I can't remember if it was the video from Avatar or if it was the video from Ferngully, but they swapped them. So basically you had the audio for one and the video for the other. And when I say they match up near perfectly, they match up near perfectly. So if you want to talk about like plagiarism and stealing ideas and copying, it's a very, very good, strong case to say that Avatar just totally stole from that, among many other films as well. Alexander says, why do you think I say Heil Whammon? I don't really know. I'm sure you can answer that question for yourself, good sir. One more bump away, says Brad Noble. What do you mean one more bump away? Eric Coleman says, if they remake Back to the Future, I will go full falling down Michael Douglas style. Nice, man. Also, Eric Coleman, how is everything going? Just wanted to check in on you. I sent an email not too long ago just trying to check in with you. Everything hopefully going okay. Just want to get an update on your family and how everyone's doing. And again, you have been, as all of you guys in the chat have been in my prayers. Again, every time I pray, I always pray for all of my subscribers, all of you guys, for the ones that have asked for special intentions. I think of you, of course, in the moments as well. So I give you all a special shout out to God, you could say. So, and also many of you may not know this, but I am an altar server. So on Sundays when I go to mass, I serve at the altar. And so for me, it's even more powerful because I am literally, you know, kneeling next to the altar of, and what it is it's an altar of sacrifice that we make as Catholics. And to be able to offer up prayers for you guys, it's really powerful for me. And it really just reminds me just of how special this community is and how amazing all of you people are. The fact that we can share these types of things with each other when things are going wrong, when things are rough. I mean, guys, you don't have, like, I was not in a very good mood or place before this live stream, and y'all have brought me to life. So I have to give a huge shout out to all of you guys for that, and for being supportive of me, for helping me to live my dream, because essentially, like, this has, I mean, I never thought I'd be on YouTube, but just to be able to talk about movies, to talk about pop culture, to talk about my opinions on anything, and have back and forth with you guys, and the patron shows, I mean, sorry, the Discord chats that we have, and everything else, all the things in between. The fact that now we're just adding more content, more things, and there's so many different balls rolling, and it's just so damn exciting. So thank you guys so much for being a part of this, and I just wanted to get that out there. So we're not ending it just yet, but I just needed to get that out there. Hybrid says, I noticed I really started liking Black Panther's character in Civil War, then afterwards he just felt dull. Is it because the way he's handled now and all the overrated praise of him? It's because of the person who handled him. So basically, the director, the Russo brothers, had a certain vision of him in Civil War. You had a different director who is very talented, mind you, who directed Black Panther, but obviously he had a certain vision of the character. And then the Russo brothers got him back when he was in Infinity War. I think the Russo brothers have the best handle on his character, and that's why, like I said before, when people always, because you know they do that, whenever I bad talk Black Panther and call it overrated, and that it's only loved because of identity politics, people are like, oh, you're just saying that because you're a racist. Well, then why are my favorite sequences in Infinity War the ones that are in Wakanda? Like, it's just the fact that it's how the characters are handled and the world that's being built that I care about. And I just don't think that the world is built very well in Black Panther. I think there's a lot of issues and flaws with how it's built. And part of it is the directing, but more of it is just what they try to do with the film. I think they try to do too much with the film. And they tried to, I think, overdo it in certain situations, and I think that was a problem. I think that was a mistake on their part. Alexander says, it's to describe Hollywood. Gotcha. Jagan says, Avatar is super long. Why is this the highest grossing movie of all time? Basically because it was released in every format ever known. It was released in IMAX, IMAX 3D, etc. It's what got the 3D trend started, so it just kept making money, and really a lot of it has to do with the fact that it made $1 billion, well over $1 billion overseas, but it also made like $1 billion in the United States as well, which is almost unheard of at this point. So that's the reason why. I honestly could not tell you much about how, like, from a objective standpoint, how anyone would think that it deserves to get that kind of money. Frank says, we lost our room to the Nates, but we are now in the Star Wars room, and I don't know how to feel about this. Sorry, I'm missing something there. Everett Coleman says, terrible, but I'll email you about the things. Got much? Okay, gotcha, Everett Coleman. Yeah, please do update me on that, man, because obviously whatever you need me to do, you tell me, because you know what we're talking about, and it's no hard feelings if anything has come up. And also, to beyond that one thing, let me know what I can do to help you and to be there for you as you and your family go through this hard time, because you and your family are what's most important at this point in time. So, obviously keep your focus there. I will keep my focus and my prayers on them as well, and just update me when you can. Obviously, I know that it's not a good time, but just let me know, and I will do everything that I possibly can to help out. Suicide Grunt says, don't bring me to life into this. It's a meme. Trap says, happy you feel better, my lord. Your loyal court jester is here to provide support and the lulls. Well, I always appreciate you having you here. It's a Trap. Always great to see your name here. Tina says, to have here, Odin, and glad to see the growth of your channel. Well, I mean, Tina and Steph, and if you are a part of the Patreon community and you are going to have access to the podcast tomorrow, Tina and Steph are amazing people, and you'll get to see and learn more about that and learn more about why they're amazing people in that episode. So I can't speak up highly enough about it. So again, 8 a.m. tomorrow, that episode is going to drop. So please, with it on Patreon, you can listen to it on the page. You can download it on, if you have the app on your phone, you can download it directly on your phone and listen to it whenever on the go. You can download it onto your computer, do the same thing. So it's a really good episode, and the audio quality was a little bit. It was difficult because we had to record on Skype, obviously, since we're not next to each other. But I think the content is what is the best part of it, without any shadow of a doubt. So thank you again to Tina and Steph for coming out of the way to do that, and for being willing to do that as well, because I know that it was hard for them to kind of, get the jitters out. Alex Martinez says, you're the best. Keep up the great word, Asgardian. Well, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Really do appreciate it, man. Steph says, the Valkyries are at your side. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. The Valkyries are amazing. Alexander says, breathe into Odin and make him real. Bring him to life. Hireman says, big problem for the world building was how uncorrupt it seemed. I mean, you look at the Dark Knight or Avengers, you at least feel stakes with both Gotham and New York. Yeah, I know, I agree. I think everything seemed too perfect. And I think they did that on purpose, because basically the other reason why I have a problem with Black Panther is because it becomes a commentary on colonialism. And obviously you can have a discussion and a historical debate until you're blue in the face about colonialism and everything else that comes with it. But the fact that you have one of the characters whose main motivation is against like white colonialism, it kind of brings the race relations into it in the forefront. And I think that definitely weighed down the movie. Tina says, I'm buffering a bit too. I still have the swirling circle. Well, I'm very sorry to hear that. Alex Martinez, is Odin, in your opinion, what's the most overrated film of 2018? I made a list on that. Where have you been, man? I made a list of the most overrated films of the year, and Black Panther was #1. It should come to no one's surprise that Black Panther is the #1 most overrated film of the year. I made a top 5 with some dishonorable mentions. It is available on the channel, so just look through the videos, and it was posted within the past week. It's been posted in the past 7 days, so look out for that. Also, my top 10 list of the year, most underrated films of the year, and also my top 5 worst films of the year as well. Steph says, thank you. No, thank you very much. Frank, the Star Wars room with the lightsabers in it. I want to like Star Wars, but I don't know about this new stuff. It makes me, as a wiener dog, uncomfortable. Am I safe with all these snowflakes? Okay, now I get it, Frank. Frank, stay strong, man. I believe in you. Frank, use your tail. Your tail is there to make you feel better. Wag that tail. Wagging that tail will make you happy, man. I promise. I promise. Patrick Manduff says, I was asleep. How late am I? You're about 2 hours late, man, but that's okay, because we're still going strong. I'm still going strong. I feel good. Y'all have really lifted up my spirits. Again, I was in a really funky mood. I really can't explain the funky mood that I was in, but y'all have kind of helped lift me out of it, so thank you. And hopefully I've been able to bring you guys some positivity. Obviously, I'm not a positive person all the time about anything, but hopefully I've been able to, bring you some happiness in life. Hallmark Jeremy, what's up, dude? Hope your stream went well. Cheyenne says, Odin, Nate is brother-in-law. He got Frank and the clan's room, and now Frank is... Oh, no! Poor Frank! Poor Frank, no! Frank deserves his room. Frank is like Dobby. Dobby doesn't have a home. Hiram says, my thoughts exactly, Odin. Don't get me wrong. I liked Killmonger's character, but I objectively found his motivation over the top with political vibes of colonialism. No, exactly. Killmonger was, as far as a performance, was perfect. Michael B. Jordan did an excellent job as that role. One of the best villains, I would say, of the MCU. Not as good as Thanos, but definitely up there as far as good MCU villains. But his motivation, even though you could understand it to an extent, he obviously goes way too deep. Like, instead of it just being about his father and that being the primary motivation, because that would have been enough, he goes back even further. And, oh my God, like the last line he says at the end, when he talks about saying, like, my ancestors would rather jump off a ship than live in slavery, would either die in the sea or live in slavery. And I'm just like, all right, now you're just going way over the top with this narrative, and it was a little too much for me. Jagan says, Odin, the biggest genre women haven't taken over yet is Westerns. There are a few, but with commercials and movies in theaters, they haven't yet totally. Yeah, there's been some attempts. For example, there was Wyona Earp, I think is what it was called. So there have been some attempts at it, but with the Western genre in general, masculinity has been like a core element to Westerns since its inception. So that to me is almost an impossible genre to really get into, on top of the fact that Westerns aren't the most popular as far as current day films. It's a lot harder to sell a Western nowadays than it would have been a long time ago. So I think there's multiple reasons why that is the case. Tina, thank you very much for posting that. So guys, Tina posted a link to my most overrated list. Suicide Grunts America says, what's the scariest monster in film? Chat, what do you think? Scariest monster in a film. If we're going to talk about modern day monsters, the scariest creature, I guess I would say, not monster necessarily, but creature. The Babadook scared the hell out of me, but in the best way, because it wasn't jump scary. It was just like the way it looked scary. Also, all of the iterations from the movie It Follows was also terrifying. Let's see. Somebody B says, who won Odin's Movieplex? I will drop the link if you can. I think Tina already took care of it. Hyperman says, random question, which Lord of the Rings movie made you sad the most? I understand we're not emotional too much, but Boromir's death still gets me in Fellowship. Probably. No, I think you're absolutely right. Yeah. Fellowship of the Ring, Boromir. The other one, of course, being when you think that Gandalf dies. Replancia, thank you so much. Thank you for the Australian $20 super chat. When people, let's see, when people want to rewrite history, they make us all lesser for it. An example with Dunkirk, there were people upset that there were no female leads. They choose to ignore the different morals or situations of the times. Reed, I think you've said that perfectly, to perfection. Oftentimes what you see is people complain about history being history. You see the same thing happen in schools, where people want students to read, as far as English literature is concerned, to read censored versions of books like To Kill a Mockingbird, where the N-word is censored out, when certain words aren't used. Forgetting that you can't just wipe away history, because if you ignore history, if you wipe it away and pretend like it doesn't exist, how can you possibly learn from it? One of the most powerful things when I was younger, when we read To Kill a Mockingbird in school, was that I was seeing someone using a word that my entire life was taught, no, this is one of the worst words you could ever use. But it had an impact on me, and I learned from that. So I totally agree with you. I think that not just in books, but movies too, when they try to rewrite history, even in video games now. I mean, what the Battlefield, not Battlefield Earth, but the new Battlefield game, Battlefield 5, where they tried to change history. It, one, is teaching our kids and everybody false history, history that's not true, but also it's missing the entire point. You know, if you don't know history, you're doomed to repeat it. And if you just are going to wipe away history and ignore it altogether, good luck. Good luck learning anything. I mean, absolutely right, Reed. Thank you so much. Edward Coleman, thank you again for the $8 donation. Really do appreciate it, man. $8 to make it an even 80. Thank you, man. I really do appreciate it. Yes, so again, we are $80 the way through, almost a third of the way through building up for the vlog camera to add to the channel. And once again, guys, this is the second time that we've done this type of donation thing. The first one was for the PC, which again, I mean, now that it's finally working, I'm just, again, so thankful for anyone that donated during that drive. Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. And for everyone that's donated tonight for this, I mean, it really is just incredible because, one, it gives me confidence in myself, the fact that you obviously want to see more content like that. So it gives confidence to myself, but also it makes me very humbled that you are willing to put in your own hard-earned money into this channel and into producing more content for this channel. Because I told this to the Valkyrie, and they can even vouch for me by saying this. When I think of this channel, obviously part of it thinks of it as my channel, but it's also our channel. I couldn't be doing what I'm doing without you. I would be speaking to nobody. I would be speaking to empty space. I wouldn't have, the ability to improve my content. I would not have the ability to grow. And all of that has been possible because of all of your extreme generosity. And so all I can do is say thank you. And all I can do is just show my utter appreciation through words. Obviously, I wish that I could do so much more. I wish that there was something that I could do to be able to give you guys whatever it is I possibly could. But at this point, all I can do is say thank you. Just from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being so supportive. It really does mean a lot to me. All right. Thank you again, Edward Coleman. Appreciate it. Let's see. Peabody. Odin, now I know why you parked so far away. You have a bad battery and had to push start your car, and that left you in a bad mood. Yes, you're exactly right. Hallmark Jeremy, it was great being brought into the Moist Fray. Oh, man, it was great. It was great being brought onto that Moist Friday stream. It was so much fun. And thank you for the invitation again. Hypern says, I wonder if Ryan Coogler took inspiration from Blade Runner, such as Roy battles last monologue before he dies as contrast to Killmonger. That would be interesting if it was an homage. Yeah, I mean, he dies in a very similar way as far as the way he's seated. So it wouldn't surprise me because Ryan Coogler is a very smart director. I mean, I've said this from the beginning. Like, there's some people who obviously don't know me, don't know my history. You know, I talk very highly of movies like Fruitvale Station. I think Fruitvale Station misses the mark as far as the message it tries to give, but even more so, Creed 1 is one of the best Rocky movies of all time. Like, I think it's my second favorite Rocky movie ever. So Ryan Coogler was a perfect person. I like, if you had just seen some of my initial thoughts before Black Panther came out, I was excited because Ryan Coogler was the perfect choice as a director after what I saw with him with Creed 1. That's why I was so disappointed when Black Panther came out. And obviously, I know that a lot of it came from the fact that the media just ate it up and just pushed the identity politics narrative. But then also the movie itself had those elements in it. You know, obviously the colonialism storyline of Killmonger. You also, of course, had the very end where T'Challa, you know, where Black Panther himself gives a speech that essentially is a speech written in contrast to American politics. It was an anti-Trump speech. And some people didn't read it right away, but as soon as he used the concept of instead of building walls, etc., like, you know exactly the screenwriter at that time had someone in mind when he was writing that. And it's really sad because Ryan Coogler is a talented director, and I really hope that, because he's going to get Black Panther 2 from everything that I know, I hope that he is able to just make an awesome movie and leave all that other nonsense behind. Cheyenne says, Frank made Odin laugh, so at least my wiener dog made him cry. Oh, God, y'all are crazy. Stevie says, thank you for helping Odin. Don't eat all those cookies. Damn right. Tina says, I'm not going to read a censored version of Mockingbird or Huck Finn. Teach these kids as to why that word was used. Exactly. Not only as to why it was used, but also because they'll know why it's used, they'll then know why we don't use it, why we don't say it, why it doesn't matter where you're from, what the color of your skin is, what background you have, what community you're a part of or you identify with. It's not a word anyone should be using, ever. It's a word that was developed out of hate, and for them to be able to see that and understand it will hopefully help them to understand why we don't use that word, regardless of the color of their skin either. Because this is one of the things that I see a lot happen at my own school, where I see kids who basically isolate themselves and they break themselves off into groups. They segregate themselves. And the language that's used in these groups, it makes me sad because it's like they don't understand where all of this, you know, where the history of all this came from, but also, too, that they're living in a different time. The future is ahead of them. And they're holding on to words and a mindset that's holding them back from growing. And it's really sad to see. But obviously, I can't say that to them. I can't go to the administration and say all of these different things, because then, of course, that makes me look like the ignorant one who doesn't understand, and I'm assuming and using my white privilege to put... No, I'm not. I'm saying that there is a great world out there for everyone of every race, of every background. But if you limit yourself, there's nothing that I or any government or any person can do to bring you out of it. At the end of the day, you have to take responsibility for yourself and build yourself up. Let's see. Suicide Grunts of America says, I liked Dunkirk because of its accuracy to air battles, though some of it was ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, again, just to clarify, because some people saw me on the 24-hour stream fighting with Jeremy over this, I like Dunkirk. I think Dunkirk is a good movie, but it's a B movie. It's overrated, mostly by Jeremy. Jeremy overplays that movie way too much because there are some problems with it. Odin had bad RAM, then had bad anti-software. Yes, damn right, Frank. There were so many issues with it, man. It was so ridiculous. God, I remember the computer days when everything just wasn't working. It was absolutely insane. Alex Martinez, what's your favorite animated film of 2018? Ooh, no one's asked me that question yet. Oh, man. Because I didn't make that list. 2018 animated movies. Because I don't... What came out? What came out? Oh, Isle of Dogs. We're talking about just animation in general, which includes stop-motion animation. Isle of Dogs by Wes Anderson. Easily my favorite. I mean, that was in my top movies of the year list. So it's definitely up there. I would say other than Isle of Dogs, which would be my number one choice... and we're talking complete animation, not just movies featuring animation, because up here it has Christopher Robin, which is not animated. I mean, there's animated creatures in it, and the animation is beautiful, and I love it. Definitely not one of them, though. Yeah, so those are the big ones. So I would say Into the Spider-Verse is also a very good story, but I don't like the animation, interestingly enough. But my favorite animated film, easily Isle of Dogs by Wes Anderson. Frank says, you are welcome, and thank you for doing everything that you do, sir. We have your back. Well, thank you, Frank. I really do appreciate that. When you have Frank's back, you know, when Frank has your back. Creed 1 was underrated, Edward Coleman. You're right. Creed 1 was underrated for sure, but I would say that Creed 2 is overrated. I did not like Creed 2. I loved Creed 1. And the big difference, Ryan Coogler did not direct Creed 2. Someone who did not have much directing experience took over Creed 2, and I think the movie suffered tremendously. It was a very, very boring film from like the very beginning to like after the very beginning scene, it's boring, and then all of a sudden the end montage and end fight happens. Dion, thank you, man. Thank you so much for the $10 donation. I can't provide much, but every little bit helps. I enjoy you and the community that we are all a part of. Well, Dion, thank you, man. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for your generosity, and I remember of all the help that you gave me when I was getting the PC set up. So thank you, man. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, every little bit helps, and we're literally almost exactly a third of the way there. So thank you, man. Really do appreciate it. Let's see. Mr. Peabody says, Mr. Peabody says, Odin, I watched Border Security America. Didn't know Kermit the Frog was a customs officer, but the guy they had sounded so much like Kermit, it was hilarious. You'll have to send me that link, man, because that sounds really funny. Let's see. Hypern says, do you still have any interest in the MCU after Endgame Phase 4? I honestly don't know at this point. I have a feeling. Okay, yeah, that's a good question. Do I have any interest after Endgame in Phase 4? Yes and no. And I say that because obviously Endgame is my second most anticipated film, right behind John Wick 3. And yes, I know that some people might say, how could you possibly put a movie in front of Avengers Endgame? Endgame's going to be awesome. We all know this. But John Wick 3 is going to be better. And I will fight anyone on that because John Wick is just an amazing character. But with that being said, when it comes to Endgame, it's going to be great. How Endgame ends, no pun intended, is going to tell me if I'm going to have any interest, because Kevin Feige has come out and said that his future, his vision of the future of Marvel, of Phase 4, is of diversity. Now, is this going to be natural diversity? Is this just going to be characters who are ones that you can build good stories around and make sense? If that's the case, okay, I'm fine with that. But is it going to be, oh, the main people are going to be Falcon, are going to be Captain Marvel, are going to be Black Panther, are going to be Miles Morales live action? Like, basically, any single person that fits an identity politics identity, if that is the direction they go, if that's the focus that they have, then I will not have much interest in it, because if they go woke, they will go broke. That's what Star Wars learned the hard lesson of. And Kevin Feige, though, is a much smarter man than Kathleen Kennedy, so I don't think that Kevin Feige is going to make that mistake. I think that if there is identity politics, it's going to be a lot more subtle, so we will have to be on the lookout for it. We will have to try and be hyper aware of it, but I don't think he's going to make that mistake, because he obviously knows how to make money. He knows that making money is important in this business, and if the MCU stops making money, They can't rely on Star Wars anymore. Their animated films are obviously solid, but even them, we're starting to see some identity politics being brought into. So they've got to play a very careful game. Otherwise, they're going to screw themselves over in a very, very real way. Let's see. Hypen says, do you still have... All right, I got that one. Let's see what we got here. Did I get Hyperen? Yeah, I got Hyperen. Wait a minute. Where'd Hyperens go? Because that's where I left. Okay, there it is. Let's see. So Tina says, I used to see that too when I was in school a million years ago. Then they look at me mingling with everybody and call me weird because I never saw color. I mean, yeah, it's so sad, Tina. Thank you for sharing that with me. And yeah, I mean, it really is something that the fact that in 2018 it's still happening, and that if I see that and I don't think it's a good thing, that it makes me the problem, it makes me the one that's privileged, I think is kind of ridiculous. Because I thought we were supposed to live in a world where we all are together and we all are to look past these things. Again, MLK, brilliant man, said tremendous words that have always affected me. We should judge each other based on the content of our character and not the color of our skin. And yet I see on a daily basis so many people in the African American community making judgments based off of the color of their skin, and it's all out of this sense of black identity, where they find more comfort, I guess you could say. And again, I can understand that to an extent, because obviously I think that there are still certain areas and segments of society that are racist, that are definitely anti-inclusion. Again, people exist like that still to this day, but it makes me sad that that has essentially brought us to this point now where almost it's a cultural phenomenon, where it's just this natural thing that these communities stay so tight-knit that it essentially creates the same systems that existed during the time of segregation, only now it's something that they control. And it just bothers me, because I think that it limits... I've said this constantly. If you define yourself by your race or by your gender or by just a couple of things, you isolate yourself from so many people. And by doing that, that is what increases things like anxiety. Like identity, I mean, the amount of kids that suffer from identity disorders, people who don't know where they belong, where they fit in because of this, it's remarkable, and it's sad too. So, I mean, thank you so much for sharing that, Tina, because, I mean, I know that's something that's still going on to this day. Let's see, Lost Jedi, thank you so much for the $25 super chat. Uncle Fred's Ghoul School on Twitter, love your work and commentary. Keep the faith. May the Force be with you. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it so much. So Fred's Ghoul School, go check him out on Twitter. Thank you very much for the super chat. Really does mean a lot, man. Let's see. Patrick McDuff says, Odin, I hate censorship unless used when absolutely necessary. I agree. I agree. When something should be censored, yes, absolutely go ahead. But if you over-censor things, then you are making life unrealistic at that point. Because then people are raised thinking that the world is a certain way, and then when they're thrown into the real world, that's what causes them to act like children, and that's why kids don't grow up anymore. Because they're taught that everything is the safe space, and you're protected, and everything is great, but then they go to the real world and they realize, it's not like that. And that's why we currently have a Congress that is filled with so many people who are buying into this identity politics nonsense. Tina says, Jeremy and Odin's eternal battle over Dunkirk. It'll last longer than the real Dunkirk did. That is a true statement. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely, man. Brad Noble says, damn it, Bubbles. It's on Odin's end. What? What Bubbles? Adam Shine says, okay, I'm starting to pull a Peabody and fall asleep in my office chair, so it is time for me to call it a night. Have to get up and work in 6 hours. Take care. You have a good night, Adam Shawhan. Thank you for stopping by, man. I know it's a little bit late. I'm still going strong, so I'm actually going to be on for a little while. As long as you guys are here and ready to go, we still got 50 people here, so I can go on for a little bit longer. I'm going to try and keep my voice down a little bit, though, because I'm very confident that my wife is asleep at this point. So I don't want to wake her up. So if I get excited, it's going to be a much more contained excitement. At least I'm going to try to. I'm not very good at censoring, or rather, I'm not very good at tracking my voice level. I'm a very loud speaker, and I don't have very good volume control. So Valkyrie, if you notice that I'm getting very, very loud, like I would say like 10 decibels above the point that I am right now, just, you know, give me a little shove. When eventually I get there, of course. Hybrid says, just wanted to ask, have you still not seen First Man? Good Lord, that movie got so much hate. I'd say more hate. Hybrid, I finally saw it. I put my review out on Twitter. I did a video, and also it's on Letterboxd. So go check out my Letterboxd if you want to see my full review. I thought it was great. I want to say I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I think I gave it like a B+. It's a very good movie, very well done. My issue with the film is that they use way too much shaky cam, way too much handheld cam. I thought that was a big mistake. I think that is something that definitely detracts from the film and keeps it from being an A-level film for me. However, the reason why the film got so much hate, remember initially the reason why was because of the whole flag controversy, because everyone's like, oh my God, they're not going to have the flag. But then you watch the movie and you see the American flag everywhere. It's on their suits. It's on the ship. Guess what? Also, there is a shot when they're on the moon when you see Neil Armstrong standing next to the flag that's planted. They don't show the planting happening. They don't show it up close, but you still see it. So the whole controversy was just made up. Like the whole controversy just came out of nowhere and actually had no grounding whatsoever. So yeah, I did see First Man. I really liked it a lot. However, the shaky cam and the overuse of handheld shots did not benefit the movie and hurt the movie a lot from a visual perspective, and so that's why it was not a perfect film, but it was definitely a good one worth checking out. However, if you do normally get sick or you don't like shaky movies, I would avoid it, and that's the reason why to me it doesn't reach that amazing level for me, because it's a film that not everyone can even watch without getting sick. Hyman says, just wanted to add... Oh, sorry, I got that one. Great. Soul Assassin says, Keanu Reeves has got to be one of the coolest guys in Hollywood. Oh, Soul Assassin, you're absolutely right. Like, this is a guy, like, you've seen the videos of him riding public transit, getting up for people and everything. He bought his entire, like, the entire stunt team that worked with him. I want to say it was on John Wick 1. He bought the entire stunt team, like, big high-end motorcycles or high-end cars, like literally dedicated his salary to buying this stuff for them. Like, he's a charitable guy. His story is so tragic. Just look up Keanu Reeves' story. He's probably one of the realest and nicest guys in Hollywood. He's a guy that I think deserves like an honorary Oscar for just being an amazing human person. So I agree with you there. Lost Jedi, thank you so much again for your super chat. I really do appreciate it. Let's see. Eric Coleman says, I completely agree with you with Creed 2 played with nostalgia. In addition, was I the only one thinking where was Flavor Flav when Bridget Nielsen showed up? I definitely wasn't thinking that. But yeah, I mean, again, Creed 2 to me was a film that just was not well directed. It was a film that was lacking what the original director was able to bring to the project. And that's just what happens when you have an inexperienced director. And it's amazing how you can easily see a difference between one film and another when the director is the only thing that's changed, because the director has such a powerful impact on the overall film. That's why I didn't like Bumblebee, because Bumblebee, the writer for Bumblebee, had no experience and had written some terrible screenplays before it, and my least favorite part of the movie was the writing, was the screenplay, was how everything came together. So it's really interesting. It's really interesting. Last I've seen you stream. Whoa, what's up, Ethan? How's it going, man? Hope you've had a good break. I am not ready to go back, and I know that you're not ready to go back either. Peabody says, Odin will send Link in rough time, but Kermit talking about drugs and false bottoms and luggage captures the imagination. That sounds amazing. Suicide Grunts of America, why is censoring on a ship? That's really good, man. I appreciate that so much. Hyper says, Odin, you shall not leave. Well, we're still 49 viewers in, so it looks like we are still good there. Ultra 7, what's up, dude? Which Star Wars film was your first in a theater? It was The Phantom Menace, because I'm 30 years old, and so the first film that I saw was when I was a kid, when I was in middle school, and it was Phantom Menace, the first one I saw in a theater. Good question. Sunny B says, deal, perfect. Behind. Tina says, kidding, Odin will take care of it. You better. Frank says, still watching you on the PS4, so this will be last chat, but we are still on here. Well, thank you very much, Frank. I really do appreciate that a lot. Court of Asgard for Stephanie was 73.25 hours. That is truly amazing. Alex Martinez, what's your favorite Clone Wars character? So I'm assuming you're talking about the Clone Wars animated series. I would say that my favorite character from the Clone Wars animated series would probably be Ahsoka. I know that's kind of a cop-out answer, but Ahsoka really is the heart and soul of the Clone Wars series, and that's the reason why I overall just love her character. I think she's great in it, and yeah. So I would go with Ahsoka. No question about it. Where am I? There we go. Hyperd says, Odin, awesome thoughts. Odin, exactly, patriotism and the flag is literally shown in depth throughout the whole movie, but glad to see you liked it, and yeah, I agree, would get shaky at times. Exactly. It's like for anyone that thought that the movie that we're talking about, just in case anyone's just joining, because I saw like 4 people just jumped in, we were talking about the movie, the First Man, which got a lot of controversy because people were freaking out because the flag apparently wasn't going to be planted and the American flag was not going to be featured, and people were kind of up in arms about it. Even I was up in arms about it because I was like, it's kind of an important part of the entire landing on the moon. But then you see the flag constantly throughout the film, and then you even see the flag planted on the moon. So they didn't ignore it altogether. It didn't just not exist. They just didn't show the planting of the flag. So essentially it was a non-issue. It was something blew out of proportion. And yeah, the only issue with the film though is that it's very, very shaky at times, and I think that's a bad thing. Patrick McDuff says, which of John Williams' music do you like most? This is going to sound very weird, but one of my favorite John Williams scores is actually from Hook. Don't ask me why. I mean, he has great scores, and there are many you can list off, and I'll say yes, 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 yes. These are all amazing. But the one that I love the most, that just reminds me of childhood in general, is his one from Hook. It's just so damn good. I love it. Bruce, what's up, Bruce? Oh, hey, didn't know you were doing a live stream. I didn't either. I just decided to jump on for the night. I'm still sticking to a schedule, so I'm still doing a live stream Monday, Tuesday, and Saturday. So tomorrow I'm doing a live stream as well. But every now and then I will do a random jump on live stream if I have a lot to get off my chest, if I'm stressed, things like that, which does happen from time to time. During the day on a weekend, I might do a gaming stream because I know that's not something that everyone likes to see, but it is something that I know that there are a few people that like to watch, and as I get more access to more games and more multiplayer games, I'll be able to actually do more with you guys and play along with you guys. So yeah. But yeah, that's the reason why I'm on. Ethan says, how are you doing this night? I am myself doing okay. I'm doing fine too. I'm doing a lot better than I was at the beginning of the stream a couple hours ago because of this amazing group of people. Hypern says, any thoughts of the Keanu Reeves rumor as one of the candidates to play Wolverine? Do you think it would ever be a good choice? I don't think it's going to happen. I'm kind of indifferent on the choice. I don't think it's his personality. I don't think the character fits his personality. I love Keanu Reeves, but he also is a person, and every person has certain qualities about themselves that fit certain characters, especially as as actors, and I just don't see that as being a role that would fit him very well. So I don't want him to be the role just because of that. But if he was the role, hey, I would love for him to prove me wrong. Love for him to prove me wrong, because I do like him a lot. He is really great. Suicide Grunt says, thank you. Imagine how OP Iron Man will be if he has a vibranium regenerating suit. That's a true statement. Cash Rocks, what's up, dude? Did you ever finish Cowboy Bebop? No, I have not. Hopefully, maybe this weekend. Maybe. Intertrap Production says, my lord, I must return to working on my next YouTube video. I bid you and everyone else a good evening. Well, It's a Trap, thank you so much for stopping by. Guys, go check out the It's a Trap Productions YouTube channel. He is an awesome guy, does some really great voice acting work as well, and he is a part of this community, so thank you so much, man. Appreciate you. Hypern says, Odin, I would love to share with you. I was never a big Star Wars person. I never knew it was that good, as fans would say it was. Then I watched the originals. I'm happy to love Star Wars now. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Hypern. Yeah, I mean, everyone has a different story. And that's actually something that's really cool about the podcast that me and the Valkyries do that's coming out tomorrow, is we talk about where we got our love from Star Wars from, and everyone has a different story. And I've mentioned this, and I've shared this before on the stream, that my love of it came from the prequels, actually, because I saw it as a kid, and obviously it was more geared towards kids, and so I love the pod racing and the stuff that I kind of look back now and was like, but yeah, so it's so fun to always hear those stories, though. Hiram says, Hook and Home Alone are great movies that get a lot of hate critically surprising. I know, seriously, Hook. If you don't believe, go to Rotten Tomatoes and look at the consensus for Hook. It's not good from critics, and yet I think it's one of Spielberg's best movies. It's one of my favorites. That's for damn sure. It is childhood for me to a T, and I absolutely love it. Caitlin Keeper of the Jamboree says, Odin, you should play Minecraft. Hey, I would be down because that'd actually be a lot easier of a multiplayer game than anything else. And I do own Minecraft. I don't have it on this computer yet, but that is definitely something that I could do. Keanu Reeves for Punisher. He's already doing that in John Wick. So no, I'd rather him just continue to be John Wick forever rather than anything else. Anthony Schultz, long-time listener, first-time caller. Saw your HC jacket earlier. I graduated in 97. How about you, Nola baby? I work there. I'm a teacher, so I'm actually a Jesuit grad. So yeah, I'm part of the rivalry school, and but I still work there, and I love it. And Valkyrie, don't worry, I don't mind saying that. But thank you so much for being a part of the channel and for stopping by. And go HC. Soul Assassin says the pod racing game for N64 is amazing. Oh my god, and I played that. Soul Assassin, I played that as a kid, and it was one of my favorite Star Wars games. It was so much damn fun. So I totally know what you're talking about. I totally understand where you're coming from. Let's see. Hypern says John Wick Cinematic Universe is underrated. Oh my god, yes. Like, the John Wick universe is one of my favorite universes being built. Not only do we have John Wick Chapter 3 coming out, but then Starz is developing a TV series, and it's not going to feature John Wick, but it's called The Continental, and it's going to essentially be a series about the various hotels that exist around the world. So if you don't know anything about John Wick, one of the cool things about it is that there's these hotels called the Continentals, and what they are is they are hotels for assassins. And so literally these guys can get their suits tailored, they can get all of the guns that they need, and it's just really awesome and really cool. When you're in the hotel, it's sacred ground, and so you can't kill anybody, there's no violence allowed, and there's all these strict rules, and the world that's built by the John Wick universe is awesome. And I'm so excited for John Wick 3 and also for the Continental series as well. Suicide Grunt says, who else has high hopes for John Wick 3? Besides Odin. Oh my god, I'm so excited for it. Eden says, Minecraft with Odin hype. Damn right, man. Hyman says, you know what would be a crazy idea if they did a serial killer cinematic universe? Make a movie where the Zodiac meets Ted Bundy. Just something that would be interesting. Not saying it's good. No, I mean, I agree with you. I think one of the things that I've tried to make clear on the channel, especially recently, is I want more world building. I would love for a studio to be able to take one movie, build a world with it, and then tell an infinite amount of stories that are not related except for the fact that they exist within the same world. Great example of that, Cloverfield. The first Cloverfield that came out was really good for me, at least. It was a great found footage film, and it was a great monster film as well. Then you had 10 Cloverfield Lane came out. It's different people, different part of the country, different story, not found footage, an entirely different film. And yet it existed within the same exact Cloverfield universe. And obviously I think they dropped the ball with Cloverfield Paradox, but still, like, I would love for movies to do that more often, to just build a world and then be able to continue stories. Like, I think A Quiet Place is doing that with its sequel. It's not going to pick up from where the original characters left off, but I think it's going to try and tell a different story. And I mean, there's infinite amount of possibilities that you can do with it then if you decide to do it at that point. Let's see. Patrick Maduff says, what I hated most about the prequels as a kid was Jar Jar Binks. I still hate Jar Jar Binks more than the poor dialogue. Yeah, I mean, Jar Jar Binks to me as a kid I liked because I thought it was funny, and it wasn't until later that I was like, oh yeah, I guess you could kind of understand that he's kind of an offensive character to a lot of people. But overall, I thought that, you know, he was funny, and again, as I got older, I realized, oh my god, he's just so annoying. Cash Rock says, I finally got a gaming PC, so I'll be able to play games with... Oh, nice, Cash Rocks. Cannot wait to get the gaming back up and running. It's been a very long time for me. Mirror Jeremy, Odin, how old were you when Episode 1 came out? Let's see, Episode 1 came out, what, 1999, right? So I would have been 11? 10, 11 years old? Yeah, just about. Yeah, if it came out in 99, I would have been 10 or 11 years old. Hiram says, surprisingly, I liked Cloverfield despite the shaky cam. I usually hate these kind of movies. Yeah, I mean, and that's another film, too, where I'll say there are some people that will not like it because of the shaky cam, but I think the shaky cam is better used in Cloverfield than in First Man, because the shaky cam in First Man is like used way too much, but also having a shakiness to the camera is one thing. Having it like be, oh my god, you're in a spaceship shaking, that's a little too much. That can cause a lot of problems. Suicide Grunts says, OMB Blog, this has nothing to do with Jar Jar, but he was in fact voiced by a black guy. I know that, and we've actually talked about that before, about how he has come out and said that he became suicidal after all of the hate he received, but he did not receive the hate from the fans. It was the media that went after him. And it was a very great commentary on the power and the darkness that the media has on all of this in pushing stories and attacking his character because of everything. And it was really powerful. Alex Martinez says, if you could only watch one film for the rest of your life, which would it be? Casablanca. Because then I usually go to my favorite movies. Casablanca, 12 Angry Men, It's a Wonderful Life. I would put The Dark Knight up there as well. Where Wolverine 4, welcome to the channel. I'd put The Dark Knight up there. Back to the Future, I would put up there as well. And Whiplash. Those would be films that I could probably watch for the rest of my life because they're all just so good. The ending to Whiplash. Guys, if you've never seen Whiplash, watch it just to get to the ending. One of the best endings to any film in the history of filmmaking. And I stand by that statement. Never seen Forbidden Planet. It's on my list of things to watch. I know. Oh my god, Whiplash is fantastic. Edward Coleman says, Jar Jar was black. I definitely thought he was Jamaican. God, that was cringeworthy. Yeah, seriously. I think that a lot's happened since then, but overall, I totally agree with you there. Hold on, let me see. I just got tagged in something on Twitter. I just want to make sure that no one's trying to call me out or anything like that. There's been a debate on Twitter about the whole Johnson situation. All right, anyway. J75 says, the Geeks and Gamers Cinematic Universe. Oh my god. If someone could make like a trailer for that, that would be amazing, because you obviously got stuff that you can make from my channel, from Jesse Milestone's channel, from Ivan Ortega's channel as well. I mean, there's so many different things that you could do with it. Hybrid says, imagine if Tarantino made Whiplash, the drumsticks would be gushing blood at the end. If you've never seen Whiplash, you wouldn't understand it, but yeah, the blood, because there's already some very, I wouldn't say like it's like overly graphic, but surprisingly, like, you're not expecting to see it. And if it was a Tarantino film, it would be like gushing blood. It would be absolutely insane. Man, that's crazy. All right, well, I got a break in the chat, so let me go ahead and do what I normally do. If you become a Patreon member and you pledge $1 a month or up, you get to be shouted out during every single live stream, and I try and always say that for the very end, just to be able to give my full appreciation to all of them. So a huge shout out to my patrons: A Great Jedi, Adam Shawhan, Dave Bob, Delete System 32, Edward Coleman, Enrique Evangelista, Frank the Tank, and the Shawhan Weird Dog Clan. Let's see, Greta Zenner, Harold Francis, the Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, Edger Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jeffrey Toon, Claffis, Laura Story, Matthew Kadish, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin, Outpost Dyer, Perpetual Punster, The DJD Show, Those Two Ball Guys, Tina B, and Wolfgang. Thank you all so much for being Patreon members. I appreciate you so much. If you are a member of the $5 or up tiers, you be on the lookout tomorrow for a podcast episode featuring the Valkyries. If you are in the $10 or the $25 tiers and you have not gotten back to me about your shirt size or confirming your address, please do so as soon as you can. That way I can buy and get your shirts sent out to you as soon as possible. And if you've never been a part of the Patreon community and you would like to be, head over to the Patreon page. You can find the link to it in the description for this video. and also sometimes Heimdall and the Valkyries would post it as well. Jagan75 says Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon had a huge drop in ratings in 2018. Doesn't surprise me at all because they're making garbage content. When you make garbage content, you're gonna not get good results. You're not gonna have a good time. Tina, thank you for reminding me. So guys, tomorrow we will have a live stream, 6:30 start time. Again, the official start time will be put in early, so don't worry about that, but it will be between 6 and 6:30, so just put that on your calendar, and we will be watching The Blues Brothers, which is one of my favorite SNL movies ever, probably one of the best SNL movies ever, and the music is just so good. It's so damn good. I love it, and it's been a very long time since I've seen it, so if you want to join us watching it, obviously I can't show it on the YouTube channel, but we all get our copies, we sync them up together, we watch them at the same time, we talk about it, we go through it together, we usually get some trivia as well, and it's always great to see that information there as well. And so that's what's going to be going on tomorrow. Patrick McDuff says, my favorite part of Whiplash was when the guy who plays J. Jonah Jameson in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man is yelling at Andrew Naaman or whatever his name is. Oh, absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely, man. Such a good movie. Greta says, Odin, starting the movie at 6 or 6:30 between the movie itself is going to... So the stream is starting. Thank you. That's good clarification. Starting the stream between 6 and 6:30. And if we start at 6, the movie will start around 6:30. If the stream starts at 6:30, the movie will start around 7. So whenever the stream actually starts, after 30 minutes or so, that's when we will actually start the movie itself. That way we'll have a couple hours there. Pagan God says, still trying to figure out Discord. Damn you all, Father. Hey, you don't have to use it. It's just a really great way to be able to communicate with everybody. Suicide Grunts says, I never understood why Thor Ragnarok was delivered as a joke when Ragnarok is the end of everything in Norse mythology. Well, I mean, yeah, I understand what you're talking about, but I think it's presented so well that it's just a damn good time. It's just so entertaining. It's so much fun. So overall, I didn't have a problem with it because I thought it was a lot of fun. Greta says, okay, good. Get off work at 6. Got to get the trivia together. Thank you very much, Greta, for doing that. And again, guys, Greta does a great job. As always, whenever we have movie nights, when she can come, she always gives us some really great, insightful trivia, things that sometimes maybe you know, sometimes you don't know, and it's always really great to hear those things. Edward Coleman says, wait, there is different levels now to Patreon. What did I miss? I sent an email out, Edward Coleman, to everybody who was on Patreon to check their subscribership. So yeah, basically now there's new tiers, and the information, you can find it on Patreon. So go ahead and just check on a Patreon and you'll see all the different tiers. You are signed up for, I can just tell you that right now, for the $5 tier. So therefore you will have access to the podcast. You can ask and recommend episodes for the podcast and also for YouTube episodes as well. And then you can find out what the $10 and $25 tiers are for as well. Let's see, Hyperin, I'm interested to see what Thor does in Endgame. Hopefully he does something epic. I actually look at him as the Luke Skywalker and Aragorn of the franchise. Really interesting. Okay, I mean, yeah, I think Thor has really, and I have to think, I mean, there are some people that are critical of Ragnarok, but I think that without Ragnarok we would not have the Thor that we have now, who is just such a badass. Like, oh my god, the Thor that we have now is so different than the one we got in the first 2 films. And again, I love the first movie. I don't hate the second movie. Obviously, I understand why people hate it, and it's definitely weaker than the first movie. But without Thor Ragnarok, we would not have gotten that course correction that eventually led us to what we got. So let's see what we got. Jagan says, is Jeremy the mascot of Geeks and Gamers? He should be on the logo. He might as well be. Now, he is actually the owner, so he's kind of my boss technically. I mean, I make a video. It's like almost like when we do what we do for Geeks and Gamers is essentially we do like freelance, where we will dedicate a video. For me, it's a video a week on the box office for Sundays, and we get it usually just for name recognition, since the channel at this point in time is not big enough or making enough to be able to support or rather to be able to actually like pay out people. So I do it totally for volunteering. He tags my channel name, etc., puts it out on Twitter, and I mean, it's fine. I mean, it gets my name out there, and I love doing it anyway, and I love just being a part of the Geeks and Gamers community. It's a lot of fun to do that. So Let's see. Hybrid says, I love how the Russos and Taika Waititi handled him, especially. Yes, as you pointed out, now freaking badass. Seriously, like they did such a great job with him. Jagan says, Jeremy should parody Bugs Bunny in the Warner Brothers movie logo. Nice. Jagan says, Odin, I was just kidding. I know Jeremy owns it. I know, Jagan. I know. I just had to get it out there for anyone that doesn't know. Tina says, are you still doing the show with John Talks Sunday night? I know he's having computer issues. So actually I did check that schedule. So thank you for reminding me. So yeah, guys, at this point, hold on. Oh, it looks like he was having issues with his live stream earlier as well. So yeah, the way that it's working for this weekend is tomorrow. Obviously I have the live stream going on. And then at this point, let's see. Yeah, at this point, the live stream with John Talk Star Wars is actually going to be on the 13th. So not this Sunday, but next Sunday. So we still got about a week for all those computer issues to be fixed. So we'll talk about that more when we actually get closer to the event. All right, well, let's get to these last comments before we wrap up the stream. Suicide Aggressive America says, besides Thor, which character has experienced the most loss in the MCU? Lord, it seems like Black Widow. It really does. I mean, it seems like Black Widow has lost a lot of friends through her service. I would even put maybe Hawkeye up there as well. They both are soldiers, and so I feel like they've lost a lot of friends. But then, I mean, I guess Captain America would be up there too. Again, all three of them are soldiers, so I think all three of them have lost a lot. I guess Captain America would be the most, seeing that he went away and was frozen for a long period of time and lost like so many people, an entire like generation of friends and loved ones. So probably Captain America. Tina says, thanks, want to double check, no problem. Greta says, Golden Globes Sunday, who's excited? Not this guy, because the Golden Globes are a joke, and they are like the they are like the whose line is it anyway of award shows, because nothing matters. The points do not matter a damn bit. And let's see, Widow's done. I agree. Cool. All right, guys, so thank you all again for coming on to this impromptu live stream. For all the guys who donated, we raised $90 for the vlog camera fund. Thank you so much for that. Guys, just remember that if you in the future want to support to get the vlog camera for the channels, that way I can do more vlogs and stuff like that and not feel completely awkward, but also just have the better ability to get better shots. Donate through the Streamlabs, not through the Super Chat. Super Chat obviously comes to the channel. Everything goes back into the channel, so it still goes to the channel. So thank you if you do Super Chat as well. But if you want to help to this fund and have that number go up, then go through Streamlabs. But for all the guys that did support that tonight, especially Dion, Edward Coleman, DJ D Show, Edward Coleman especially, Laura also, thank you so much. And also for the Super Chats, Lost Jedi, Reed Palancia, Inflamed Wood, Nemesis 08, Lethal Lightning, and also Reed Palancia. Thank you all so very much for your support, for your generosity. I know what it means for you to, to donate your hard-earned money. So thank you so much for that, and thank you for getting us well on our way. We're almost a third of the way there, hoping to get there over the next few days. That would be awesome if we could. That way I could get started on vlogging and doing more content for the channel within the next week or so. But obviously, whenever we're able to get there, we'll get there, and it'll be great. So Jagan says, I'm not watching any of those award shows anymore, especially after Kevin Hart's situation. I totally understand where you're coming from. Tina, thank you. Peabody, you have a good night. Hyperin, you have a good night. Patrick McDuff, you have a good night as well. Anyway, guys, you are all amazing and beautiful people. Thank you so much again for supporting. To all the Patreons, again, I've already shouted you out, but seriously, thank you all again for your tremendous support. It really does mean a lot to me. You're all amazing, beautiful, wonderful people. Thank you for watching. See you all tomorrow night for the Blues Brothers. Have a great night, and as always, God bless.